Here's me answering every question on my daily updates channel. Thought I'd do a departure from the usual video just to see how things go. And also, I've just accumulated a ton of questions, so I wanted this to be pretty exciting and interesting. And to make a long story short, we're going to start down here with Sarcasm's comment from 6 days ago. Then I'm going to answer and address every single question all the way up to the top, which is the Hot Seat 6654, which was published 1 minute ago. Okay? I'm doing this because I've realized that my schedule will not permit me to record my usual daily update tomorrow, so I wanted to get ahead of it, record a massive video today. I'm just traveling to San Fran, and between the actual travel and flight time and then some client fulfillment I have to do, I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to record a video. So this is just my way of giving back and then also resetting my whole comment counter. Okay? Let's do it. First question's from the lovely Sarcasm. They say, Nick, saw you mention that you were about to be burned out doing these daily updates. That was about a week ago. So I was wondering, outside probably the financial benefits of doing them and making sure you're maintaining the success you've gotten, is there any underlying thing that allows you to push through and then show up every day? I find at times, comfort can really lead to skipping days and ruining momentum. However, there are days where your mental health will generally not cooperate and allow you to do your daily outputs. So I'd love to know about how you push through these harder days and do what you need to despite burnout. What a great question. Thank you for bringing it up. Now, I addressed some of this in the post that I made 6 days ago that you're currently commenting on. But basically, I think that a lot of people tell themselves a story about the work that they're doing. And I think that just inherently here, the way that this is framed, okay, it's almost inherently interfering with your ability to actually show up every day. Because you're framing it as push through. And I'll be honest, some things in life are hard, okay? But, if you just zoom out sufficiently, the story that I choose to tell myself is that I live in probably one of the most blessed times ever to be a human being. I'm not hitting the oil rigs or going down a coal mine. I just turn on a button and then I just yap for an hour. My life's actually pretty good. And whether or not it actually is pretty good objectively, I mean, in my case, it really is. The stories that you tell yourself about the work that you have to do end up, I find, dominating your motivation more than the actual work you have to do. So I would get away from saying stuff like, am I really going to be able to push through this? Am I going to be able to show up every day? I mean, you even framing it as like a big challenge like this, I think just makes it more of an unseemly monster, demon in your mind that's going to stop you from doing it. This whole idea that there are days where your mental health will genuinely not cooperate and allow you to do your daily outputs. If you sell yourself on this story, the likelihood that you will actually be able to do it is a lot lower. Whereas if you treat it like something that's straightforward and simple and just a byproduct of living, I personally find that, that's a much more reliable and consistent way to live. So I'm not like a motivational guru. I hope this shit's clear. If you guys want some of that, go down to David Goggins or whatever and watch him jog 800 miles to Mars in an afternoon. But I guess the point that I'm making is if you just zoom out sufficiently, you'll realize that human beings are just products of stories. And if you tell yourself good stories, easy ones, the best ones, your life will be a lot easier. Think about it, man. What are a bunch of the other things that you probably do every single day? You wake up, you get out of bed, you pour yourself a cup of coffee or whatever. I don't know, collect your socks and shit. These are all tasks that you will do every single day, right? But you don't tell yourself the story about how difficult it is to go around your house and collecting your socks. That's a George Carlin quote, by the way. You're just like, oh, it's my sock. I'm going to put it in the freaking laundry hamper or whatnot. So if you just treat everything else that you're doing approximately similar, I really think that most burnout problems do disappear. Now, this is just my take on it, and I'm not 100% right, I'm sure. I think the truth is probably a sum or an average of my take on it and then a bunch of other people's takes on it. But again, I guess that's a story that you tell yourself as well, right? Self-belief is a very powerful thing, I'll say. Okay, Milos Nikolic says, Eastern Europe, bro, we watch you too. Thank you, man. Adrian says, hey, next, starting my agency around AI education, meaning AI solutions for learning, training, and onboarding of new hires, and upskilling and reskilling of existing employees. What would be your approach to market these services? And in your experience, what kind of solutions could I build around that niche? And what's the current demand for something like this? Thanks in advance. Really appreciate all the work you do. Hell yeah, Adrian. Nice work, man. AI education. AI solutions for learning, training, and onboarding of new hires. Wow. Well, I got to be honest, I haven't sold anything remotely related to this. Probably some sort of knowledge-based tutor is good. Check out what Khan Academy's doing. I think if you could, actually, I think they have a tutor plugin or maybe, I don't know for sure. But I'd probably check out what they're doing because the way that they're integrating AI into the teaching and the learning process is pretty phenomenal. Well, I'd definitely check that out. That's number one. Some simple things for learning, training, and onboarding. I want you to think of it when there's a transformation event that occurs and somebody goes from being not staff to staff, right? Realistically, there's going to be something like this. There's some event you got to identify what that is, right? So what is it? Is this somebody signing an employment contract? Okay. So once you have the event, now you know it's like when somebody signs employment contract, then you send onboarding packet. Usually on the onboarding packet, there'll be some sort of form. Maybe that form has some like educational things. You can feed that into AI, maybe some like tailored knowledge base thing. Then give that person their own like AI mentor, which is maybe like a chatbot trained on like the knowledge base of a company. And then maybe they have like a course modules they have to do, complete course modules. And then, they use the AI assistant / tutor while they do it. Something like that probably makes sense. I don't know. I'm just like spitballing here, but I could see something like that being somewhat valuable. Yeah. What's the current demand? Oof, I got to be honest. I do not know. Probably not that high. I mean, well, I think AI for learning and stuff, I guess it probably depends on where you're targeting, right? Like mid-market. If you're targeting like small to mid-sized businesses, what's the demand for something like this? Really not that much. But some big enterprise that employs some simpler AI onboarding program could probably slash their BS HR costs by like 10%. Now it's like, oh, like 10% more money in our pockets. Well, our margins are 20. So that's literally like 1.5ing our business or half 1.5xing our business. Probably makes more sense, right? So maybe, I don't know. You might have to market more to enterprise people. I'm just spitballing though. I'm like, don't take any of this stuff as 100%. Farhan says, "Hey Nick, I live in Indonesia. I'm trying to target U.S. market because the pay is so much better than here. You can get a proper meal for $150 and the minimum monthly salary is around 177 to 236 depending on the region. Wow, for sure. For context, I'm sending 180 cold emails per day using instantly for 2 weeks or for a week now, and I just used my first 2 interested replies. Problem is the time zone difference in Indonesia and the U.S. is about 12 hours. Oof. My current email sending schedule is set for 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. U.S. time. So that's when people are typically working, right? When your videos, you mentioned it's important to reply to interested emails within 5 minutes. But 9 to 5 happens to be when I'm asleep, so I can only reply once I wake up. What do you think I should do? There's no way I can stay awake till 2 just to catch replies. The only solution I can think of right now is adjusting my sending schedule to 7 to 10 a.m. U.S. time. What do you think? Well, I think you could probably answer this question for yourself pretty quickly. Hopefully you have in the last 6 days. But for future reference, I think that you're not in an uncommon place. Like we send outside of time zones all the time. That's just how it works. You could probably, and by the way, congratulations and great work on getting those interested replies, even with like the email volume that you're doing and like the inherent disadvantage that you're at. I agree that like location arbitrage and your ability to generate, I don't know, $1,500, which is what did you say there? 1,000 meals worth with a simple contract that maybe somebody in America would only be able to generate 70 meals with or something. That's pretty cool, right? But yeah, obviously the cost of that is you being awake or dealing with shit at really inopportune hours. So first of all, my recommendation for you is don't do 9 to 5 because business owners get in before 9 and they stay until after 5. So do something like 7 to 6, right? It's because they're gonna be in here. If it's like a local business or whatever, they're gonna start their day earlier and they're gonna end their day earlier as well. So that's number one. A lot of them have like meetings and stuff like that midday too. Managers, a lot of them are. So, they're not actually going to be like by their email inbox. But if you can catch them at 7, then if they come to their email inbox anytime between 7 to 8, you'll probably be in like the top 3 replies. That's pretty good, right? Okay, so that's number one. Second of all, the most important thing is to just treat replies like gold. Probably the best way you could do this right now is when you get an interested reply. I don't usually recommend having AI respond to these, but in your particular case, you get an interested reply, you feed that into AI, you paraphrase what it is that they responded with or something, then you let them know that like, due to some logistical thing, you can't, hey, I'm going to follow up with more information in a second or in a minute or in like an hour or something. So I could see a flow set up where, let's say you get something at like 4 p.m. US or something, which is, I guess, 4 a.m. where you are and you're waking up at like 5 or 6. So you would be able to answer that, but it'd be like a few hours. Instead, what you do is you get a reply, you funnel that into a flow that sends an email that says, "Hey Pete, yeah, that's a great question. I am super interested in this as well. Let me sort this out for you. I'm just jumping into a meeting. Would you mind if I followed up with you in like an hour or two with more information? Just want to make sure that you have something from me because I understand your time is valuable, but just jumping into a meeting or something like that. Build yourself some plausible deniability for why you can't respond then. I could see you do this at like 3 a.m. your time. You send that email within 2 minutes of the person sending you their interested reply. They're still going to be on their email inbox. They're going to see you. They're going to be like, oh, wow, that guy got back to me so quickly. Okay, great. They're professional. And then you're still going to get like the dopamine hit of like, responding to them immediately, the perceived value. And then, yeah, you can probably handle some more routine inquiries as well using AI. Is this the best way to do it? No, you should definitely have a human in the loop here, but you can't really, if you don't want to be up at night for sure. Looks like Shashanka basically said the same thing. But Shashanka, I would definitely encourage you to think about it from their perspective. So don't just say, hey, thanks for showing interest. I'll get back to you with more details within X hours. That's kind of BS. Like nobody's, if you say that, it'll be like, okay, well, why don't you just give me the information now? Like come up with some plausible, deniable reason that implies that you're also having a ton of business. And yeah, do that. Vasislav says, damn, you are Bulgarian. Absolutely, brato. How you doing, man? Priyatosh says, hey bro, quick question. If our clients want our portfolio or reviews, how to tackle this as a newbie, as I don't have it, but I'm pretty confident in my automation skills. I went through our tutorials nicely and built a high ROI system from scratch. They also feel like I'm not capable as I'm 17 years old. Well, you can't age any faster than 1 minute a minute, unfortunately. Well, I guess you can if you live a very hard life. So discounting that 17-year-old thing, the best way to deal with people that believe you have no experience is obviously to front load them, is to wash them in perceived value and experience and authority. So if they want a portfolio or review, usually like clients don't really like that stuff unless you suck at sales. And so they start being like, oh, maybe we should ask for a testimonial from one of their past clients. I find anyway, like I stopped getting stuff like this when I got good enough to like really nail a pain point and then just ooze authority during the sales call. Like I just stopped getting questions about portfolio or testimonials. People had never seen any of that, but over the course of a call, you just build enough like implied or implicit value in how good and smooth you are that, I find that they just don't ask questions like that for me. At least they don't do it anymore. Or maybe I just haven't gotten one in a while. I don't know. Or maybe because you can Google me, they just Google me after the call, actually. That's probably what happens. Okay. In your case, though, you don't have anything like that. Do you not have any portfolio pieces at all? I would assemble a brief portfolio for sure, just to check the box. And then you can go through the portfolio on the call really briefly, almost as like an afterthought. But first of all, I'd assemble a portfolio. The reviews part's going to be tricky, right? You are going to have to like bootstrap yourself by working with somebody that without having any reviews ahead of time. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what this one guy did for me. One of my favorite team members right now, I don't think he had any experience at all, but what he did is he just showed me his skills through like sheer tenacity. He like overwhelmed me in value to the point where I just had no choice but to be like, all right, man, let's give you a shot. He wanted to work with me for YouTube strategy, so he sent me this giant long strategy doc, and then he actually created a bunch of thumbnails for me ahead of time, asking for nothing in return. Then he created a bunch of titles for me, asking for nothing in return. Then he like did a bunch of outlines for me for asking for nothing in return. Then he was extraordinarily available to answer all my questions for the initial period, again, for nothing in return. Then when I offered to pay him, he's like, oh, pay me less for nothing in return. Then instead of him doing the thing that I asked him to do, he did like twice that for nothing in return. And now I just want to reward this guy like so insanely much. Like it's crazy. Or is everybody going to treat you like that? Probably not. So people might take advantage of you. And I think maybe this guy has been taken advantage of. I certainly hope not, because he's one of the most genuine guys on planet Earth. But, that's probably your simplest option. Just drown them in value, man. Just do so much work for them that they're like, what the hell is going on? Basically offer to do it all for free and then deliver it. And then if they have any sort of head on their shoulders, they'll pay you more for it, if that makes sense. And then once you have your first portfolio piece, you're not ever going to have to worry about this again. Okay. Harry says, hey, Nick, after we do our automations, how do we charge a monthly retainer for that? I mean, after we make the automation, set it up for the client, why would he even pay us every month? Well, you need to continuously deliver automations. Also, the automations that you deliver do tend to produce like implicit, repeat value. Like the idea is you're building a system and the system does something for the client, right? So although technically you don't have to be around for the system to continue producing value for a client, the client will ascribe that value to you if you're around. So that's one. Two, you deliver a lot more value than just the building of the systems. You deliver a lot of value if you're positioned right as like a strategist and like a consultant. You deliver value in maintenance. So sometimes these systems break. And if the client has to worry about that stuff month to month, that's like a big pain point for them. So they'd much rather just be like, oh, okay, if I work with Nick, everything's going to be taken care of all the time. Okay, awesome. There's a lot of value in Q&A and like team training. Yeah, and just knowing that there's like somebody on staff, but like part of the team that can handle like automation stuff. That's cool. And then, yeah, you don't just like build once and then never provide any additional like incremental value. You actually just like, in my case, I repeatedly build, usually on like a weekly cadence for a client. So hopefully that makes sense. Hey Nick, following you for a couple weeks now. Love the content, so valuable, guys. I'm not a bot. Is this something a bot would say? Thank you for that. I'm from India. I just started offering marketing services to local businesses here. I just have to drink this bubbly because I'm dehydrated. One sec. I'm reading. Okay, okay. Damn, that hits. You guys got these things where we are? They're like carbonated water mixed with like orange peels. Okay, I'm not fully understanding marketing services. Okay. India doesn't work based on pay per hour. I don't fully understand this. How do I convey the value to the prospect? Because it's pretty straightforward in pay-per-click ads. Put X in ads and get multiple X and pay me a part of it. So it's trackable ROI. How do you make them understand the value for AI and automation? Yeah. Well, you can't like convince them of something. I find that you guys ever see Inception with Leo DiCaprio? It's like you're incepting the idea of ROI. So I won't be like, this will deliver you a 33 times return on investment. And here's why. I actually have them come to that conclusion on their own, and I guide them through it. I shepherd them through it. I'll give you a quick example of what this looks like. I'll say something along the lines of, "Oh wow, that must really be impacting like your ability to get clients." And they're like, yeah, it's a big problem." And I'm like, "I'm, just spitballing here. Like, how long has this problem been going on?" And then they're like, "Oh, 3 months." And it's like, you know, so what? Like, you're losing a couple of clients every week for the last 3 months? And then they're like, "Yeah." And it's like, wow. So what's that, like 12, 13 clients in the last 3 months? Geez. That's like, it's like 4 clients a month, man. And your average order value is what, like $5,000? Yeah, it's $5,000. So it's like, you're pouring $20,000 down the drain right now. It's like, yeah, that's right. That's the sort of like consultation that I have with them. Like I will have them come to the conclusion for the most part. And if, I'm trying to get them to come to the conclusion, then I will simply ask them, so, okay, what's the average order value then? Wow. So it's $5,000. And then how many clients did we say? 4 a month? Wow. Is that $20,000 a month? Seriously? Wow. Like they're the ones that are doing it. So that's how I do my sales calls. It's mostly just like, I am the lens by which we focus on the problems that they're suffering from. And then I blow up those problems, allow them to see the problem very clearly. And then once I've, fully outlined this problem, then I'll introduce the solution, and it inherently is valuable because I position it as, well, this fixes that $20,000 a month liability that you were having before, right? So how much money are they going to be willing to pay to like fix a $20,000 project? Quite a bit. So it's not trackable ROI, but it's not like I'm not telling somebody it's going to do something and then justifying it. What I'm doing is I'm having them come to the conclusion for me. How do I spot the opportunities to automate that's the biggest leverage in a business? To identify and build a system that adds the most value. It's like a framework. Yeah, for sure. Oh man, dude, I love that you're asking for this because it's called The Goal by Eli Goldratt. I feel like you've seen this before. Basically, check this out, theory of constraints. This is a good example of the way that I think of things. This is a pipeline, okay? I don't know what this is doing. This is like, I don't know. It's like a pipeline where this is raw materials up at the top. And then down here at the bottom, this is like the finished product, okay? So basically what happens in a pipeline is the pipeline is constrained by the narrowest part of it. So it doesn't matter like how wide this section is down here, because do you guys see how narrow this section is? So just due to like fluid dynamics or something like that, I don't know. Pipelines are always constrained by the narrowest. So if you guys want this whole pipeline to, let's say you want to 2x, this is a business, a model of a business. This is the lead gen, this is the sales, this is the onboarding, this is the, client fulfillment, and then this is the retention or something. This is a model of the business. If you wanted to 2x this business, it doesn't matter how many more leads you throw in. You could widen this 2x, it wouldn't do anything. You could add, twice as many sales staff. It wouldn't do anything. You could improve your onboarding another 5 times. It wouldn't do anything because all of that stuff is subservient to this section right over here. So the best way to 2x the business, the only way to 2x the business, to be honest, is to increase this constraint. This constraint is client fulfillment. What might that actually mean in practice? It might mean hiring people. It might mean doing an evaluation of all of the systems that you built for a client. All of the systems that currently govern fulfillment. It might be a question of like rethinking your packages, rethinking what you're fulfilling, your scoping, right? All that stuff. So check that book out, man. It'll guide you through it all. And what's really cool and what I really like about it is it's like It's like a fiction book. It's written as a story about a man that's trying to fix his marriage, and he ends up using the theory of constraints in order to not only fix his business, his manufacturing business, but also his relationship, which is cool. Timothy says, advice for the perceived bot comment problem. A good amount is not controllable. Reasonable fear about AI replacing jobs in countries without social safety nets. Distrust of AI problems with having a large channel. Some way I can see it being mitigated, though, is adding some sort of statement where you advertise your school that it isn't required. Like I recommend it if you have the means to, some sort of obligatory statement. I think the biggest part of the perceived problem that could grow is that a lot of these comments include some sort of action they did. Just subscribe to your maker school, and that's what flips the warning a lot of heads. Yeah, true. Of course, you can prune your garden by hiding these comments to something, but I know you don't want to do something like that. But yes, that's true. By adding the additional statement, it at least builds your ethos more and distances you from the well-meaning testimonials. Yeah, sure. That's a really good point, Tim. Thanks. Yep, this man knows his social dynamics. I mean, I do stuff like that already, moderately, although I've definitely gone a little less nuanced over time. Like I'll say, like, if it makes sense for you, you should join. But in the sales funnel, I say, like, I only recommend this if you are confident that this is going to deliver a return on your investment. If you're not confident this is going to deliver a return on your investment, you're probably not at a good enough place where you can like financially justify doing this. Maybe you're in like between jobs, or you don't have the funds to actually commit to like the lead generation stuff. Like whatever you're going to do, don't be stressed when you join, don't feel like I have to make this work, because all the people, well, not all of them, but a lot of the people that join think like, I have to make this work. I can't afford rent next month. Like most of these people don't make it work. Why? Because they're freaking the hell out all the time. So maybe I just need to find a way to articulate that a little better. All right, I'm just going to drink more of my thing. By the way, I'm going to need to eat at some point through here, so I've got myself a little chocolate bar. So hopefully you guys aren't going to hate me too much for chewing. Okay, I'm just going to read Shaq's. Love your work rate. Okay, gotcha. How are you doing this? Make.com? Yeah, it really depends. Really, really depends. Yeah. I imagine you're probably talking make.com here. Probably. I imagine so. You use terms like bulk, add rows, right? Well, in make.com, so I guess you got a couple issues. One, you have a bunch of routes that are all going independently down various things. And what you need to do is you need to aggregate them all. So there's a quick little hack to do this, and that is the get variable flow. So what you're going to have, if I just add a router here, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Good God, man. This router over here, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to set a variable up here. X is equal to 10. And then after, you are going to get a variable down here. And you're going to get X. So if I just trying to get this to run, what'll happen is it will first go down the first route, do all the shit that you want, and then it'll set a variable called X. Then afterwards, it'll go down the second route and it'll get the variable called X. This is how you essentially shuttle data between different routes. So that's the simplest solution to your problem, shuttling data between different routes. You have one for LinkedIn, you do all the stuff, and then at the end, you set some variable LinkedIn. You have another one for websites, set some variable websites. And at the very, very end, what you do is you have like some route all the way down here. Maybe this is like your 10th route, well, hopefully not your 10th, but like your 3rd or your 4th route. At the beginning of that route, you get all those variables so that it just like, it makes sure that you have the same data that you had on both of those two routes up here, down here, okay? And then what you're obviously going to have to do is you're going to have some sort of aggregator. So it's usually like, well, actually, if you're using the bulk update modules, yeah, I don't really want to build out a whole flow to do this, but to make a long story short, you need some sort of aggregator. And then when you use the bulk add rows, or I guess in your case, you'd probably use the bulk update rows, right? So you're trying to update. What you do is the target structure type. We have to save this, unfortunately. 1 sec. Oh, that's annoying. Let's just do that. Okay, that sucks. Can I like just still do this? Oh, that's really annoying. Well, anyway, what you do is in the bulk update rows, you can actually you use the array aggregator to give you a target structure that suits this Google Sheet module over here. And then you can just map it based off of the outputs of the array aggregator. And then the way that you want to do this is you need to if you update, when you update stuff, basically your variable is going to look like this. This is going to be column 1, column 2, column 3, right? That's going to be item 1, but then you're also going to have 2 other items like this. And so this is basically, in short, what your data structure will look like. It'll be an array on the outside. And inside of that array, it'll be another array of arrays. See this? So it's an array of arrays. And what you need to do is this is going to be the first item in the array. This in the Google Sheet, this is going to be the second item. That's going to be the third item. So if you are attempting to skip rows or whatever, you just feed nothing. I believe it's nothing. So you just leave it empty. And then it would skip the second. So in this case, we would be updating row 1. It's column 1, column 2, column 3. And we do nothing for row 2. And then for row 3, we go column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay? Hopefully that gives you some context. And yeah, I think anybody here that isn't currently doing this is probably like, what the hell was Nick just talking about a moment ago? That makes no sense. Yeah. Oh, well, cool. Thank you, man. About bots, probably your best bet is to ask your school subs to answer these comments when only they have a YouTube account with some age interactions and their subs to their channels. Maybe give them a discount to their school membership. I'm not yet in your school, but we'll join for sure. Also, I have a few videos on my channel and a mere couple hundred followers. I would do it for free any day. Thank you, Alf. Much appreciated. Yeah, okay. I think that's fair. Maybe it's a combination of the two. Maybe I take Timothy's point and then I take your point and I say, hey guys, respond to this and then give me proof that you responded to this. Nah, I feel like that's that's just gaming the system a little too much. People are going to think that I'm like dry. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's kind of like botting, right? I'm like telling people to comment on something for me. And obviously people are going to do it because they like me, not because I'm paying them. Well, I guess I would kind of be paying them if it was a discount, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I can't do that. I don't think, I think that'll probably impact my reputation too negatively. Get to stuff. Automated onboarding system, selling it at a $500 price point. Having difficulty in deciding what elements to include. Well, I think you're just getting in your own way here. You're thinking that agencies won't use Trello? It's a silly question, but are the onboarding forms filled by my client or my client's client? What are your comments on things to include in the system, what platform to use? Yeah, I just include some automations between stages. When somebody gets in, invite them to the Trello board. In the first status, give them a ton of stuff so that they have everything that they need when they make it to the first status. And then maybe some checkbox. And then when they're done the checkboxes, maybe monitor it with automation, catch the webhook, and then automatically move them to the next stage, which then does a bunch of other things. It's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, you think agencies wouldn't use Trello? I wouldn't sweat that, man. Are the onboarding forms filled by my client or my client's client? It kind of depends, honestly. You could do both. Yeah, you could do both. You could have somebody on the team manually put through the onboarding request, or you could just send it straight to the client's client. I usually like being safe, so I will write everything in such a way as assuming that the client's client is going to read it eventually. Something you could do. Thanks, buddy, for your daily videos. Isn't implementing AI actually the second step, with the first being the establishment of IT systems for data collection and processing, since without a detailed and adequate data foundation, AI cannot be used effectively? No, I don't think so. I think you can use AI without having good data foundations. It's just all about being optimal here, right? Is it the optimal solution to just patch, slap AI on things like the old car salesman meme? Slap AI on a tank of water. I should find this meme because most of you guys probably won't understand it. Is that the optimal solution? No, but even if you don't have a data storage or foundation, then a lead is a lead, right? Even if it just exists in my email inbox, it doesn't really matter. And most businesses that are smaller don't really care about all that data foundation organization stuff. Most important thing for them, the SMBs that I target for the most part, is just money. And you don't actually need to have a super organized, perfect CRM for money, to be frank. Now, if you were trying to work with an enterprise company and really optimize the hell of their margins, for sure, obviously, IT systems for data collection and processing, there are whole departments for that. But yeah, not for me personally. The intro, yeah, that was pretty funny. Appreciate all the content. Thank you. Much appreciated, Trev. Thank you, Sean. Hell yeah. Ooh, that's an older one. That's my old thumbnail setup. Drew Cole says, what if you make a high-ticket community like an inner circle while coaching low-ticket communities? You start making the revenue from coaching low-ticket communities plus your own high-ticket community, which is completely reasonable because of your value. Then you ascend to coaching high-ticket. Just a thought. That way you capture people from free social media content, low-ticket, make money with Make and Maker School, and high-ticket group you can make like an inner circle. Every level like Hormozy. Content, 100 million books, portfolio company. Keep it up, Nick. What a great idea. Yeah, this is more or less what I was thinking, to be honest. Yeah, yeah, I think that's fine. The Ascend, basically, I just want a roadmap of Ascension where I have people enter in with something like Maker School, then they have like a mid-level, you know, and I really got to come up with a better name than Make Money with Make. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. And then at the high ticket, there'll be something, and when I deliver value, people just got to like automatically go up here. Right now, I'm kind of missing the second step. I have a bunch of people that want to give me tons of money, like $10,000 a month, but I just don't have anything to offer for them. And I figure it's just not really scalable with my time because they probably need, or they're expecting a lot more service. Based Goose says, new to your videos, give me confidence to continue building a personal brand while building a business on the side. If you don't mind, do you have an advice for someone who is new to B2B SaaS and what they should focus on the most at the start? Well, I think if you are new to B2B SaaS, if you're new to business, I would not recommend B2B SaaS. I would recommend starting something much simpler, 0 to 1, like an agency, where you can just do a simple service implementation rather than have to build a massive project. If you are deciding to go down B2B SaaS anyway, I do have a tip for you. And the tip is just get your first customer as quickly as humanly possible. Don't spend any more time engineering the product. Just have a simple landing page and like the simplest dashboard and then minimum viable thing that your thing does that's better than everybody else's. And then focus on just putting it in front of as many people as possible. The marginal cost of usage of your product is probably very low. So be willing to give away lots of slots so that people like do trial your service. And then now what you're doing is you're not learning through planning, you're learning through feedback, which is much more valuable and much more important. Still, if I were just starting out, I definitely would not do the B2B SaaS. Ecomwo says, awesome content. I'm an Amazon coach, is looking to acquire more clients to coach through outreach networking. Only thing I'm doing right now is using auto IGDM and targeting competitors, which is meh. What would you do in my situation with automation? Thanks. You're looking to acquire more clients to coach through outreach automation. Interesting. So probably I would look for, obviously you need Amazon sellers, right? So how are you sourcing these guys? We did something like this a while ago. I don't remember if there was something as simple as like an Amazon email scraper. Product details and seller emails from Amazon search results and product pages. Supplier outreach, market research, and business development. Cool. So I'd use something like this probably. You can probably get a lot of these. Then I'd scrape Amazon email addresses. I wouldn't just do this through auto IGDM. Because I don't really, like personally, I don't really think that's your target market, auto IGDM and targeting competitors. I don't know. Are a lot of Amazon sellers on IG? I guess a lot of them are, that lifestyle BS where like take photos in front of yachts and shit. Like, look at my drop shipping business, bro. Yeah, probably. But still, I think I'd probably go direct email. Or you could do both, like hit them up on auto IGDM and email, just have a check to see if you have their email address. Or if when you scrape their information, you also get like their Amazon page. Have some column in your database that's like Amazon page. Check to see if they're the same before you queue up the automated outreach, which I don't know if you can do on IGM, but I'm just throwing it out there. And if you do have an email in your database, odds are you're going to send them an email. You've already sent them an email. In the outreach now, you get to say, hey, just shot you over an email to wanted to double check something or wanted to run something by you. Now you have some plausible deniability and the person on the other end of the line thinks that you've done more research than just, you're not just some automated guy, right? You've actually done this on multiple platforms. So I don't know, the bar to barrier to entry is a little bit higher. Thank you for the value delivered, Nick. Please take care. Thank you. I was pretty tired that day, which is why all these people are telling me that they need me. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Ahmed. Gabia says, hey, Nick, do you think Loom videos and cold email work better than just text-based email, assuming that a super personalized following your automations to scrape the website or a social media profile of a person and then send the message? Or is it enough just to make text at the start? It's enough just to make text at the start, yeah. Just go text only to start. If you're launching an instantly campaign, yeah. Like my recommendation is always do the simple stuff. If the simple stuff works, you don't actually need to do the hard stuff. For most people, the tech stuff is actually okay. It's just a question of copywriting. So if your copywriting is okay, you can actually probably make it work. Ryan Keith says, hey, Nick, I hope you feel better soon. Question, what do you think the limit is on doing a solo agency? I was thinking about this a lot. I think it's about like $1 million a year approximately right now. It depends on the service fulfillment that you do. So simple scopes like design, I know for a fact you could do more, like 1.5 mil a year, just as like a solo fulfill person. I think that more complicated scopes like automation and whatnot are probably like lower, like high 6-figure, low 7-figure a year type deals. But yeah, like Brett from Design Joy runs that one-man agency, and he was I think he was doing some consistent like 130, 140K months, like 100 and let's say it's 150 times 12, that's 1.8. It's almost 2 mil right there, right? So I think you could probably do that. The way that he does it is kind of it's hyper leveraged. He just uses templates for vast majority of his work. And he's just like, he has a great eye for design. So it's very easy for him to like make some small little adjustments to a template and voila, boom, there you go. Automation is similar, but I find there's just a little bit more, they're more areas that things can go wrong. So yeah, I don't think you can go as high. But yeah, I think with AI, the solo founder or solo service business revenue cap is going to go up. I think margins will go up as well for the next couple of years. And yeah, that'll be great. Looks like everybody is ragging on me because I'm describing a book called E-Myth here, where I basically talk about so you start with service implementation and you teach people how to do service implementation, then you teach people how to teach people how to do service implementation. And apparently that's a core tenet of E-Myth. I feel like I've read that book, but forever ago. Jack. Hold on, we got 2 Jacks. Dude, it's a jack off. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jax. Michael Nylander says, if you're sore throat, you should drink dawa. You put ginger, lemon, and water and boil it, then you put honey in it. Will do you good? Thank you. I will do that next time. I like that idea. Channel VS8YS, a distinguished gentleman, says, hi, Nick. With which tool are you creating your agency websites? Webflow. Rockin501 says, hey, Nick, I love Google. Do you? I'm currently working with a business owner and his business ops and systems efficiency uses Google Workspace. I think Gemini would work better within his particular environment if I set up automations for him. I'm slowly but surely going through your videos, so surprised this showed up as a title. You didn't mention other company models. This showed up as a title. How to choose the right AI model for automations. I didn't mention Gemini. Yeah. Was hoping to learn your thoughts on various companies' models, not just ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is more open and easier for integrations, but I feel like there's potential with Gemini's ecosystem. Hey, that could be a channel idea for me. Anyways, love your methodology. It's educational, inspiring. PS wrote for mobile. Bye. Thanks, man. Yeah. Rockin501s. Listen, I think the Gemini suite of models is great, but my point, I think, here was that there are marginal differences between the performance of these models. So just like use whatever makes the most sense to you. If you're really integrated well with the Google suite, you should just use the Google stuff. Like if you know how Gemini works and you like the UX and you like the interface and it has access to all your files, obviously do that. If you've gotten accustomed over the last couple of years to ChatGPT, do that. Yeah. So that's what I do. But yeah, I really appreciate you. And I think there is a niche being the Gemini guy, because what I said, most people don't understand. They don't know that the models are kind of reaching skill ceilings and there's marginal differences between them. Obviously, the marginal differences as you cross the uncanny valley of like humanness make a bigger impact, I think, to like adoption and whatnot. But yeah, like in terms of their actual progress, they're kind of all hitting the ceiling. Cooper Spark says, like Alex Hormozy literally did leverage his skills for an even bigger vehicle. Thank you. Trek says, insane consistency, man. Insane comment, man. Vasislav says, I know this is a different video, but how many cold emails can you send maximum per inbox? Most people say 20 to 30, but I've heard people having issues sending that much. Yeah, 20 to 30, I'd say, if you follow like my copywriting guidelines, and if you make sure everything's plain text and I don't know, you throw some sort of spin text in there every once in a while, and if your copy doesn't blow. The reason why people that are sending that much are having issues is just because their copy sucks, and so more people are hitting them as spam, assuming, of course, that they're not like sending a bunch of bounces. Okay, Tristan J says, I do recall you mentioning cold emailing over cold calling. Your reason to it is indeed factual, but let's say hypothetically you're forced to cold call. Would you just reiterate what you ask for via email and formulate it suitable for calls? Curious for your approach on this. P.S. Nick, if you want a cold call, you'd close the prospect in 6 seconds. I was not closing prospects in 6 seconds when I was cold calling. Should make a cold calling video? Dude, I don't want to do that. I could. But I mean, how much time would that take me to like land a freaking meeting? Back in the day, I was doing, it was like door to door. It was like, the number that everybody just throws out is like, 10 calls in 1 meeting. So what's a call? A call's like you knock on the door, you open the door, you get into the business, you deliver your pitch, you handle 3 or 4 objections, you keep on pushing. And if they tell you to screw off, then you leave. 1 out of, 5 or 10 of those, you're getting a meeting. So I was doing about somewhere between like 50 to 80 a day. So I had like 5 to 8 meetings. The show up rate on these meetings was like 60%. And when I say show up rate, I mean like we would obviously call that morning to make sure that they were still on for the meeting, because, it's not like a voice meeting. It's like I have to drive over to their office. So they're just not going to open or something. If they're going to be busy, obviously I don't want to go. So show up rates were a lot lower because it was, physical obligation, and because obviously it's hard sales. It's not like consultative selling like I'm doing now. But yeah, like when I was doing cold calls instead of door to door, it was even higher than, even lower than that. So it wasn't even 1 in 10, it was like 1 in 20. Keep in mind that every time you call, first of all, the quality of like, when somebody isn't at a business when you're going door to door, it's pretty obvious because the lights are usually off, right? So you're not going to go into that business. You're not going to waste your time. You don't count that as a call. But when you call, you still have to wait for the phone to dial, and then you have to wait for maybe somebody to pick up, or you have to wait for the voicemail. So every time you call, it's kind of like a call. So maybe it was like 2x that amount realistically. I don't actually know. I wish maybe my business partner has those stats. Probably not. Gurinder, if you're watching this, you're probably not. Okay. Anyway. Yes, I would just reiterate what I asked for sure. It's basically the same thing. Shursho says, love the new change aesthetic of the thumbnails, Nick. Apologists changed their tech and now you can't scrape more than 100 at a time with Apify. Do you know how to go around this? How do you get cold email leads yourself? I think I answered this not in yesterday's video, but the day before. Let's try that. Love your content. Can't wait to join your community after my job start kicking off. Got my first client excited to develop. Hey, let's go, Gustav. Nice work. Fantastic. Miss Dorian Linda says, test living homes before you buy is such a smart idea. I usually don't know what I like until I experience it, so this makes so much sense to me. I've done the same thing with cars where I'd lease a car for a week at a time, drive it, live in it, see how it fits my life before I invest in one. But I hadn't considered doing that for a home. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's great. I think anybody with the means to do so should probably live in a ton of different places. I also think you should live in a few different like countries or cities or locales, because these decisions, they can have really outsized impacts on your quality of life. If you just grew up in one city your entire life and then you lived in that city your entire life, odds are the city's probably okay. It's like 70, 80%. But there could be a city just a 2-hour drive that is 100%, that has more of what you want. And unfortunately, human beings just don't know until we do it. So it's similar to that adage that I keep on repeating, feedback over planning. Better to go and actually experience it for yourself and then make that determination than just like think about, I'm looking for a place that has all of these features. So that place is probably good, and then never actually do it because you've never actually lived there. So great idea. Miss Dory Linda, thank you very much for the comment. Also, are you a brand? This is really nice profile pic, Dorika. Ah, yes. I called it. I freaking knew it. I saw that profile pic and I was like, that woman has a following. Arthero DOP says, hey, Nick, been watching your content like mad, man. It's so good, Mad Men. Can you share more about how you onboard not new clients, current tools, process, systems? I run through everything from top to bottom. I'll always ask, earlier in this video, I discussed The Goal by Eli Goldratt. So I frame every business as a pipeline. And then I will have the client run me through how their customers go through every stage in that pipeline. So I will say, so like, what's your first contact with a customer? Very first contact. Like I drill down. It's not just like, oh, well, I get them on a call. It's like, no. Like, how did you get them on a call? Well, usually it's some sort of referral or something with most of the businesses I work with. Well, I get referred to them, or like a previous client contacts them, or if they're running like a PPC campaign, it's like, oh, like, Facebook lead ads. And it's like, all right, like what's the very first thing that they see? Do they see an ad? Do they see a form? Do they see like is it like a banner ad? Is it like on Facebook? Are you doing it on Instagram? Is it like a video? Is it like vertical? Is it horizontal? Like I try and drill down really, really deep and know exactly what like all of the ways somebody gets into a business are. Because as you do this, you tend to learn about the stack that they're using, right? Then it's like, okay, great. So what happens after that? What happens when somebody opts in? Well, after that, we send them an email and an SMS, and we try to get them on a call. It's like, oh, so what does that actually look like? Do you guys like, how quickly do you send the text? Well, I don't know. It's like it's like within 15 minutes probably. And it's like, do you know that for sure? I don't mean to like put you on the spot, but if you can get back to somebody within a minute, you're increasing your average close rate by like 3 or 4x. Like, are you getting back to them with 15 minutes, or are you doing faster? Are you doing slower? Then they're like, oh, well, we have a team that does this, so I'm not really sure. I'd have to pull up the stats. Like, okay. So now I know they're not tracking it. Now I know that they don't understand how important that is. Now I know they don't have a mechanism to do this automatically. They're doing it all manually, right? So this is how I'm developing in my head. And I'll write a little pipeline down, usually in front of me, just because I'm going to like return to it later when I pitch them. And the pipeline is, it's funny, I draw so many of these, but I'm so bad at them. You know what it is? I think it's because I go left to right. The pipeline is kind of like what we saw earlier. Probably a better way to do it is like this. Okay. So these are the lead gen channels. So maybe they have like cold email. They have like PPC. This is like referral. This is, I don't know, trade shows or something, right? So from here, then you have like this is the lead gen marketing basically. Then this is the sales. You can draw this in as many different ways as you want. I still haven't figured out a standardized way. Sometimes I make the sales outside and then like the fulfillment inside. Sometimes I do the lead gen inside, whatever. Anyway, then there's some event that converts them into a client, right? Then after the onboarding, you actually get into like the service fulfillment. So, I mean, it depends on what you're doing, which is why I always put fulfillment. If it's like PPC, then maybe there's a creative, or maybe there's a copy step, and then there's a creative step, and then after the creative, there's some Q&A, right? You break it down. Then maybe you have like some sort of like, I don't know, Q&A, and then you have some sort of like client. This is internal Q&A, client approval, and then maybe you have like some retention. Retention is, you can also just draw it like this. So I go through this, right? And then I identify, I'm like, okay, so this is all they have. This is what they're doing. Facebook lead ads. This is referrals or email. This is some trade show. What are they using to sell, right? And then I'll actually go down. I'm like, okay, like when they're jumping on it, what are they doing? Oh, well, they're getting on a Google Meet. So it's like, all right, cool. Are they like recording the calls by chance? No, not recording it? Okay, cool. So I know that they don't have a meeting recorder. It's like, all right, how do you guys actually like close the client? Like, what's the close for you? It's like, oh, well, we send them a fax or something. So it's like, okay, well, now I know they don't have any like proposal platforms or whatever, so I can jump in there. How about when you're onboarding the client? It's like, what do you guys do? Well, we get them on a kickoff call. Again, Google Meet? It's like, yeah. Then it's like, all right, what do you do on that kickoff call? So I will literally go through top to bottom the entire business anytime that I'm doing one of these like more in-depth audits. And I'm actually starting to do this now in Make Money with Make, if you guys are interested in that. Make sure you can financially justify the decision if you're going to jump on Make Money with Make and pay $3,000 a year. Thank you, Thomas, for that. But thank you, Timothy, for that. But if you guys are in there, I just did a hot seat earlier today with one of our members, Kostin, where I basically conceptualized his AI automation agency business as that pipeline, and then we worked on the bottlenecks within it. So yeah, that's what I do, man. Hershey Bang says, bang, bang. Question, if I'm just starting my automation business, is having a pricing section on my website necessary? Should I only give the price during the first consulting call after we have an understanding which automations they want? I'm just going to sip on this one sec. I would not probably put the pricing on your website until you just have massive distribution, and then qualifying your clients is more important than acquiring them. I think for you, if you're just starting, the most important thing is just to get as many people on a call as humanly possible, and then worry about qualifying and getting people that can actually pay for the money you're charging them later. Just front load opportunities. Love the play-by-play, Nick. Thank you, Maria. Much appreciated. Felix says, thanks for the content. It seems your preferred outreach strategy is cold email. What is a suitable strategy for business in the EU where GDPR and telecom laws do not allow cold email outreach? Great question. I think most people here probably know my beliefs on this. Excuse me. Remind me not to actually drink carbonated things on calls or meetings anymore, because I just end up burping and I seem like a savage. I think most people probably know my thoughts on this already. What is the GDPR equivalent in Canada? There is a GDPR equivalent basically in every major country. So in ours, it's the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, PIPA, specifically for cold emails. Sorry, it's not actually that. It's something else. Canada's anti-spam legislation, CASL. There you go. Okay, so you need to have some clear opt-in. You need to have this. You need to have that. So the reason I bring this up is because basically GDPR is really well known, but it's more marketing than anything, to be real. I'm not a lawyer, so none of what I'm about to say is legal advice. But you know what else is another big law in a lot of places around the world? Jaywalking. Not too many people know, but in a lot of places in the world, you can get fined and ticketed for walking across the street without the light being green or whatever it is in your country. I do it all the time. How many of you guys have jaywalked in the last month? Probably like 70% of you. Maybe not. Depends on where you live, I guess. The point that I'm making is there are a couple. Like to win, for one, you can't have zero risk. That's one thing. So something that you are going to do in business that is going to make you money will have a risk of greater than 0%. So you just sort of have to kind of stomach that. That's part of it, right? I received like 6 refund requests from Maker School today. When I created my refund guarantee, it was a calculated risk. I said, all right, I'm going to receive some refund requests. Whew, that's a risk. Maybe this whole thing goes belly up and everybody asks for a refund. But I think that it's a calculated risk because I believe the probability of that ruining my business is lower than the probability of that improving my business or my bottom line or whatever. So same thing with GDPR. To win, you can't have zero risk, okay? The second big thing is there are way bigger senders out there. There are people that are currently sending and breaking GDPR at like 1 million emails a day. So if somebody legislates and somebody actually starts going after this sort of stuff, who do you think they're going to start with? Are they going to start with Bob and Jerry, Tom and Jerry, the person that's sending 90 personalized cold emails that are like well written and follow good principles and deliver some sort of piece of value right off the bat? Or do you think they're going to go after the person that is running the, bank scam to 1 million emails a day? Obviously, they're going to go with that one, right? Just to be blunt. Maybe they'll go for the smaller fish eventually, but who knows? So they're way, way bigger senders. Okay. Also, we're not spam. That's really big. What we're doing is we're delivering value for the most part. We're delivering people a no-brainer opportunity for the most part. We're basically like putting something in front of them that is just a really good deal for them. When I offer a deal that's like, hey, I'm going to generate you 15 booked sales calls in the next 30 days, you don't pay a cent. It's 100% legitimate. It's backed. I have paperwork to prove it. This is something that's like so exceptional that I think I could probably argue that it's something that it's like an exception to the whole spam idea. It's not like this is something that I actually do. I have like a background offering this sort of thing. I've done it for a bunch of people. I have agreements that are signed where other people have offered to pay me money for it. This isn't like a spam or a scam, right? This is like real value. Oh boy, I used to have a big laundry list of reasons why I don't really care about this stuff. Oh yeah. It's really vague. These are super vague. If you look at Castle, if you look at the US version of GDPR, if you look at GDPR itself, these have very vague definitions of implied consent. And the reason why is because they want people like you to think, oh, I shouldn't send it because maybe there's a chance that XYZ happens. This is basically how they control behavior without actually legally having to or literally having to build the resource in order to enforce it. Okay? So a lot of this is super vague. We don't even know if getting emails off of LinkedIn is not implied consent, to be honest, because these are people that are putting all of their personal information on LinkedIn in the first place, explicitly for job opportunities. A lot of them have the I'm looking to get hired badge, right? So there's some foreseeable legal defense, I'm sure at some point in the future that somebody's going to make. Again, not a lawyer. No, this is legal advice. Where it's like, oh, well, he implied that he consented to outreach. Like I sent him a DM on LinkedIn. Then when I couldn't reach him, I sent him an email. Like, well, obviously he's on LinkedIn. It's a social media platform specifically for advancing your career. And I have an opportunity that is going to advance his career. So, I mean, there are a few more reasons. I think I'll leave it at that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I ran through all of this and all the other ones. And I said, okay, this checks out. This is good enough. Also, you don't even have to do this in Europe if you're super concerned about GDPR. You could do this anywhere. You can do this in countries that are a little bit looser with the legislation, like America, for instance, where maybe there's like 10x the people that are doing it. So you are comparatively an even smaller fry, which puts the mental calculus even more. You could use like a shell company or something like that. Send all your stuff through the shell company. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there at this point. Don't take me seriously. But there's just so many reasons why I don't really think that that's that big of a deal. Maybe this ends up being a major issue. I don't know. Honestly, it's hard for me to say, but yeah. What's a suitable strategy for business in the EU where GDPR and telecommunication laws do not allow cold email outreach? I think if you follow the law to the letter, then everybody would just be not the law, but if you follow everything to the letter, everybody would just be kind of with a straitjacket on, rocking back and forth in a padded cell. So, yeah, just got to be reasonable about it, man. Daniel Waldeck says, where do you learn this stuff from? How do you come up with the outreach through conferences? Obviously, reverse engineering it and bare experience, but I think you had to learn all this from somebody or somewhere. I don't remember what this is about. This is probably about an outreach campaign that I ran where I sourced a bunch of conference contact details and then pitched all of the attendees saying, hey, Jack told me to reach out to you. And, Jack is this person at the conference or whatever. So I used a bunch of plausible deniability. I implied pretty heavily that I was at the conference, although I wasn't, and so on and so forth. I don't really remember where I learned that specific thing from. I gotta be honest, man. No, I don't think I did. I think it just was like, huh, what if? Wait a second. Technically, conferences have email lists. Technically, people respond better to warm outreach. So what if I just combine the two? I don't think I learned this from anybody. I don't think you should, I don't think you should just like, yeah, you should think of it this way. Like sorry. I think the first principles is really the main thing. I think that's it. Like, so what are the first principles? People respond positively to outreach when it's implied that you know the person that they know, right? So that's good. Some connection. Another thing, oh, conferences have email lists. That's another thing. Oh, most people that go to conferences have money. That's another first principle. So you just combine those first principles and you're like, all right, given these three, what are some opportunities I can think of here? You could probably formalize this and just have like GPT do it now that I'm thinking about it. Might be some food for thought. This is your legend in the making. Thank you. The comments had me dying. Thank you. Con Money says, Con Money, great content. Keep it up. Proud of you. I'm planning to join either Make a Score or Make Money with Make in a few weeks. I'm not sure which is a better fit. Can you speak to the differences between the two? Thank you. Yeah, sure. Con Money. It's just like Maker School's a 0 to 1 community. So we help you get up and running with daily accountability. The main focus of the program is on lead generation, so acquiring your first customer. And then, once you have your first couple of customers, then you elevate or ascend to Make Money with Make, which is a higher level community where I focus more on the scaling aspect, the productization aspect. And I'm currently putting together a program called $25,000 per month, $25,000 per month agency, where I'm going to be similar to the Maker School day-by-day accountability program, breaking everything down into a list of daily tasks that you could use if you are somewhere between $0 and $5,000 a month realistically, and you want to scale up to 25K. So that's the main difference. And obviously Make Money with Make is a lot more expensive than Maker School because it's a higher ticket program, but you get more value because I show up more often. You get more FaceTime with me. We do 2 weekly calls now. One of them is like an agency hot seat. The other is a weekly office hour. And yeah. Luke says, hey, Nick, I'm getting really serious about it, making automations my core business. Here's my process. 4 or 5 hours a day learning and building systems. In the meantime, I'm building out my Upwork profile. Once it's done, I'll start applying like crazy, even investing a few bucks in connects and selling a few dozen. Starting to create content to outreach to build a personal brand in my country. The competition here is weak. What do you think about this plan? Thank you for your effort in creating content, sharing knowledge and value for free. Much respect to you, man. Big ways from Italy. Thank you. I'm 12.5% Italian. Working on my pasta game. So Luke says basically that he's getting up and running, but he's spending the vast majority of his time learning and building systems for portfolio purposes. And then he mentions that he's building his Upwork profile as an afterthought, essentially, and then also creating content. So basically, he's doing like 4 or 5 different things at once. If I were you, I would just I would actually reverse these. If you made this post 4 days ago, Luke, and you don't already have your Upwork profile up and running and good to go, then I think you're spending way too much time learning the automation side of things and not enough time learning the business side of things. Because your learning right now is safe and it's cozy and it's fun and you're getting dopamine and feedback every time you click together a system. But ultimately, it's not making you money. You are consolidating this crystallized knowledge, but a lot of that crystallized knowledge you're not actually going to use for a client. Some of the stuff's nice to know. Some of the stuff is need to know. I focus on the need to know, not the nice to know. How do you only focus on the need to know? Get customers first. Get people interested in what you have to sell first. And then have the customers tell you what you need to focus your time on. What I mean by that is start applying to a job like I don't know, make.com and Google Slides automation project or something. You don't know any of those platforms or how the hell that works. So you apply, they respond to you positively, say, hey, you seem like the right fit for this thing. Well, that's when you learn how to freaking do the Google Slides and the make.com stuff, right? As opposed to you just trying to cover everything ahead of time. It's almost like if somebody gave you the exact questions that were going to be on a test before you studied for a test, wouldn't that make your studying a lot more efficient? Probably, right? So I think you should focus more on the Upwork stuff. And I don't think, if you're still doing this, then you're doing something wrong. You're focusing way too much on the learning and not as much on the doing. Once you're done, you should just do that until you get your first customer, as well as, you talked about doing outreach. So depends on the sort of outreach. Obviously, I recommend cold email. I recommend like doing it manually and stuff like that with Loom videos, at least initially. But yeah, man, hopefully that helps, Luke. Arrivederci. I don't even know what that means. Hello, Nick. I have more of a philosophical question for you. I'm in a very strange place right now. I'm a big overthinker. It's hard for me to stay consistent knowing that my actions might lead to somebody losing their job because of AI implementation. Ooh. Of course, reducing headcount is valuable for companies and increases their profits, but I'm not sure if I could sleep well at night knowing that some middle-aged woman or man lost their jobs because of me and now they can't support their family. I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. Thanks, Nick. Oh, geez. I just ran out of battery. One sec. I guess that happens when you record that much. There you go. Let's do that. Let's go down here and fix this. And I will absolutely answer your question, my friend. Cool. How we looking? Awesome. So it's funny you say this because I used to have a reputation amongst my friends as the guy that just fired people. I And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a good way. I don't mean that in a bad way. But here's my philosophy on this. Everybody is going to use, okay, let me take this one step back. When a new CEO joins a business and then he or she fires 5,000 people in the business, magazine articles are written all about how evil this person is and about how they destroyed 10,000 families or jobs. I understand this, but the purpose of that CEO is not to, and the purpose of that company is not to employ as many people as possible. It's to remain profitable and actually like grow their profits over time. Employing people is secondary to profit. If you think about it that way, what that CEO just did is the CEO didn't just destroy 10,000 families. What the CEO did is it ensured that that company would be able to continue operating and paying employees. If companies make employing a large number of people their primary goal, then pretty soon that company is not going to be competitive in the marketplace, and you're going to have to fire every single person in that business. So the way that I see it, imagine if you had some zombie bite on your hand. You got a guy out there with a machete and he cuts it off. Obviously, you're going to mourn the hand, but you will have retained the body. Make sense? So in your case, I think your question is good and I get it. But just know that you are actually, over the lifetime of that business, probably keeping many more people employed than you are letting go, because all of this technology is inevitable. And squeezing a little bit of time here and there for a particular, I don't know, in your case, you're saying middle-aged man or woman. I fired a lot of young people too, man, and old people as well, either directly or indirectly because of my efforts. I think keeping that in mind is important. So it might just be a consequence of zooming out, not zooming out enough. I don't like the idea of people getting fired and having to start from scratch and whatnot, right? But this is a game that we're all playing. And that's just how that game works. When you are deemed not as capable as, let's say, an automation, or the company is cutting down because of some, systemic profit issue, if they keep you on, then somebody else is getting fired. So somebody's getting fired. At least what you get to do is you get to choose the person or help choose the person to get fired and make sure that they make as minimal of an impact on the rest of the people that are employed there as possible. I get it. I'm not like a, I'm not like a whole, like, what's the term? Like a sycophant for capitalism in general. I think it's a preferable economic system to most of the economic systems that we've had up until now. But yeah, being pragmatic, that's how it works, man. So thank you very much, Himansh. I will definitely not stop with the cheeky titles. Congrats on overachieving your goals. Thank you, Rudra. Nick crushing it. Thank you very much, Trev. Thank you very much, A. Moody. Much appreciated. A. Automation right now feels like drop shipping from 2016, SMMA in 2019, or Amazon FBA in 2020. The wave is still so early. Most businesses just have no idea how to integrate it. Wouldn't worry too much about Dan, Iman, or anyone else. My brother, hard to bet against a true blood builder like yourself. Keep it up. Thank you. Deep Research Lab immediately after says, no, it's over. We went from it's so over to we're so back. What makes you think that it's over? You published one video on this topic 3 months ago and it got 62 views. Is this something to do with it? You're going to have to publish a lot more videos than that before you make a determination as to whether or not an industry is in or over, my man or woman. You are going to have to do a lot more work than that, not to shit all over you. Looks like you even have a playlist called SMMA. That's interesting. Hey, there's young baby-faced Charlie. That's great. Yeah, okay, this is SMMA stuff. That's kind of funny because you have one for one 2025 video here. Oh, SMMA cold loom script. Look at that. That's dope. I guess Charlie talks about loom videos too. I didn't realize that. Yeah, listen, I would, yeah, just to you, I would just, like, it's easy to say it's over because you haven't had success with something, which I imagine you probably haven't. If you had success with something, you're not going to say it's over. I guess the proof's in the pudding, right? You don't have to take advantage of an opportunity if you don't want to. I don't really think that I can convince you. No problemo. Check out the Maker School wins. You get a new one every day. Okay, David DDO says, how do you manage to keep track of all the things you want to improve about your business? It's just mostly in your head, or do you actually have a complex system built? How many things do you actually manage week to week, like the number of Google Sheets notes, if you were to take a guess? The growth I just witnessed 1.5 months is absolutely crazy. Haha, great job. I'm still here coding my SaaS, watching every day. Thanks, man. Hopefully, we'll be ready in a month and I can get all the money I want. You might want to remember the name Agently right now. Dude, Agently sounds fire. That's an awesome name. Hell yeah. Is this up? Is that you? Or is this like the .com and you're doing the .co? Is that you, David? Let me check. No, that guy's name's Max. Well, maybe you are Max and you just pretend to be David. Who knows? Great stuff, man. So, yeah. How many things do I actually manage week to week? Like the number of Google Sheets, and that's like a boatload. But I'm not a really good example of this because I'm super disorganized, like extraordinarily. If you check out my Google Sheet, my Google Drive, there's like 8 quadrillion files, and all of them have like slight little naming conventions and stuff. I think you guys probably know why. I'm just pretty scrappy, and I've recognized that about myself. The skill I have is like in taking something from conception to like 0 to 1, like very quickly. But then, after I get it to 1, it kind of becomes like a freaking mess, right? So I'm pretty scrappy, man. I'm still doing how many things do I manage? Yeah, let me show you. If you go back to my work tracker here, an hour or two ago, I responded to 92 DMs for Maker School, 92 DM threads. Did I have a system to do this? No, I literally just went to my DMs tab up at the top, and then I just went down top to bottom. I do that like every 4 or 5 days probably. So that's an example for where our current levels of organization are at. Like realistically, people at this level usually do way more. They do they have like some CRM with customer support tickets. They have some refund person. Like I don't do any of that. So it's just kind of a mess. Yeah, probably like 50 Google Sheets, 100 notes. Yeah, so how do I keep track of all the things you want to improve about your business? Oh, sorry. Maybe make it a long story short. I use this note taker called Godspeed, where I will say something like, let's see, respond to school DMs. I'll see my school DMs go really big, and then I'll say respond to school DMs. I do that because I then get a giant list of all the to-dos that include stuff like respond to school DMs. And just like, in the morning when I wake up, that's my task list. So yeah, you can use anything for that though. Apple Notes, whatever. Syntax says, love the content of your main channel. Thank you. What keyboard do you use to write that insane speed? It's the Mac one. Can I show you guys? Can I do that? You guys. Oh, wait. Hold on. This is the Mac one. Can you guys see? I guess this is the trackpad. You guys can't see the keyboard. That's not going to work. Yeah, I just use the Mac. Sorry, the Apple one. No, sorry, the MacBook one. Good God. Anurag says, hey, Nick, I love your videos. I have a question. How am I going to set up automations for clients? So I have to prepare a front end and back end for them? No, it's really just the back end. Yeah, the front end is usually the thing you're producing, the deliverable. Like in a content generation system, what is your front end really? The front end is like the Google Doc that you make, or it's like the WordPress blog post or something, right? The front end here, yeah, I think front end is kind of a loaded term. The idea of a front end is like when you build a SaaS app, you have a front end, which is what the user sees, and then you have a back end, which is like what the systems that are doing the algorithm that generates the output or something is doing. But in our case, the backend, they're all like cloud functions. So yeah, you don't really need to worry yourself about any of that stuff. It's all just managed automatically for you in like make.com. So yeah, that's all. See, Endela2405 says, awesome job. Thank you. Sam says, saw a couple of N8N vids as of late. Any reason why? Hey, I'm pretty hungry. So while I read through this question, I'm just going to eat a little bit of this dark chocolate bar. Okay. Hopefully I don't chew really loud. Just move the mic away. Damn, that's the good stuff. Okay. Sam says, saw a couple of N8N videos as of late. Any reason why? Still recommend Make over N8N? Yep. For beginners, yeah. The reason why is because N8N's just blowing up like crazy. So many people. You look at my sub count back when I was doing just make.com content versus N8N content. Crazy. Check us out. Damn, I got almost like 3,300 subs. Jesus. So, well, the graph has changed a lot now because it's, Well, let's go longer. I guess 365 days. Check this out. This was like the make.com era. Well, oh no, it wasn't. Oh no, sorry. No, sorry. This was the make.com era. Still make.com era. This was the N8N era. And then this is me taking off when I started posting every day for a very long period of time. Obviously, yeah, you guys don't see, but I have videos published basically every one of these days. Well, not every one of these days, but a lot of these days. Um, Interesting seeing how my thumbnails changed. Oh, wow, that's so cool. You can see how my thumbnails change and like get optimized over time and all the different things I'm trying. Yeah, it's just a growth thing, man. And it ends a great platform. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with it. It's cooler than Make, but it's much more complicated, I would say. So if you're a beginner, you should definitely focus more on Make than N8N. Just get something that like allows you to build a system that generates some ROI and worry about everything else after. Georgima says, hey, Nick, I just started learning automation recently. I want to specialize in Make mostly, but I'm stuck learning a lot instead of finding clients. You recommend just looking for clients while learning, but I just don't want to make a shitty product because I was in a rush. Thanks for your opinion. Yeah, I totally get not wanting to create a shitty product because I was in a rush. One of my old business partners said it best. He said, I used to have an unhealthy obsession with integrity, and it would prevent me from achieving my goals. Something like that. The point that he said was, if you're a heart surgeon, you still have to have your first heart surgery, right? So there's only so much preparing that you can do before you actually have to do the heart surgery. It sucks to say, but eventually you are going to have to dive into an end that's a little bit deeper than you're comfortable with if you want to learn. So I do feel you not want to create a shitty product just because you're in a rush. But Georgima, the fact that you're asking that question means that you're probably the right person to do this, to do exactly that. If you're worried about like the client experience and worried about the product that you're delivering, like you're the sort of person that should do that. So I recommend you just start, man. Hey, Nick, love the video. Want to say I appreciate you. I want to ask you if Maker School is relevant to high school students, mostly basic and beginner level automation knowledge. You know, we just got a 15-year-old in there the other day. That was crazy. Yeah, I roasted the upwork of a 15-year-old who like is totally against terms of service, by the way. He doesn't give a shit. I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, holy crap, man, this kid is going places. Whew. This kid's starting his journey now. Oh, man. Do I think it's relevant? Yeah. Although, you know, I do front load like Upwork apps until you get your first client. Well, for the first like 21 days. You do community posting as well. You're going to be at an inherent disadvantage as somebody that's really young because people just aren't going to take you as seriously by virtue of your age. I think being seen as young is an advantage in AI and technology, but there's something to be said about being seen as too young, you know? Like 15, 16, 17, probably. I think you're like 18, 19, 20, it stops being a downside, starts being neutral. And then if like you're in your early 20s, it's probably a competitive advantage relative to people that are older because people will assume that like you grew up with this stuff. So I don't know. I might not join Maker School in your shoes, man. I think you're probably getting more than enough value out of just these videos. If you're a high school student, it's probably much more proportional expense. You probably don't have like a job or whatever. You can probably get by just watching my videos and like doing direct outreach. And maybe once you get your first client and you like financially justify, then you join. Those are my thoughts. MN99711. I love 7-Eleven. It says lifestyle questions. Curious why you aren't drinking Slurpees every day. Curious why you chose Calgary over other Canadian cities. Also, would you ever live in the US for opportunities? I chose Calgary mostly because I didn't know anybody here and because it was really sunny. I just wanted to start a chapter of my life where I didn't know anybody. I thought it'd be a big motivator. I thought it'd be like great for me socially. I thought me being forced to find and build a competent network would be really cool. Yeah, that's the most part. Oh, I was also intrigued by the finances. Calgary is much cheaper real estate than pretty much, well, at the time, everywhere else in Canada. Not everywhere, but like most other places in Canada. So when I moved, I was not making what I would consider to be astronomical sums of money. I had spreadsheets set up where I showed the growth of an investment portfolio over time if I lived in Vancouver versus if I lived in Calgary. And because the average rent that I would be paying in Calgary would be a few $100s lower, it allowed me to achieve my investment goals a few years earlier. So that plus the sunshine, plus the people, plus a couple other reasons was just enough of a pro compared to Vancouver at the time's cons that I decided I would move to Calgary. I think it's nice. It's good. It's a good city. I don't think it's the best quality of life. It's probably like still the best quality of life per dollar. It's the best relative quality of life, but it's probably not like the best quality of life. And now that I have the money, yeah, it's probably not where I'm going to stay. But it's a nice city, man. Would I ever live in the U.S. for opportunities? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I absolutely would. Just kind of tricky right now. I got so many relationships here. I got, like it's tricky for me to live in the US now. I mean, there's like a trade war BS that's happening right now between Canada and the United States. So I would live in the US for opportunities, I think, but probably not anytime soon. Brino says, quick question. I'm currently offering CRM systems, voice agents, and chatbots, both as a full package and as separate services. Right now, running cold email campaigns is a bit out of my budget. What do you recommend is a good way to start bringing in 1 or 2 clients per month? Man, starting with the constraints of 1 or 2 clients per month already, huh? Well, that really depends. I wouldn't focus on the output goal, which is the client. Focus on the input goal, right? So, like, don't try and map it to the number of clients you're going to get. I think that's kind of like, kind of wild constraint. Like, there's no way to know really. Like, you just got to start, man. Okay. You can do everything that I talk about via cold emails, via cold DMs, and then it doesn't cost you money. It's less effective, but it doesn't cost you any money. It's also rate limited, but it doesn't cost you any money. So take the exact same approach that I riff on with cold emails, where I talk about, customizing it, making sure to optimize for like the subject line, like the profile picture and like the teaser and all that stuff, and just apply those concepts one-to-one to a cold DM. Like, for instance, the subject line of an email is very important, right? When you send a LinkedIn connection request, you don't have a subject line, but you do have your profile pic. You do have your profile, your first and last name. You do have the first few words of the connection request visible above the fold, right? These are all things that are kind of analogous, essentially, to the cold email title or subject line. So you can optimize the hell out of this stuff. It's just a slightly different game, I guess. And then the fact that it doesn't cost you any money is cool. So yeah, I'd probably do that. And then I'd also do communities. Can you afford Upwork? Can you afford connection requests? Those are not connection requests, Upwork connects. Those are the simplest and easiest way to like get a client for sure. Because the thing is, when you're doing cold DMs and stuff, you have to go through the whole sales process. You have to go through convincing the customer of the problem, convincing them of your solution, and then convincing them that you are the right fit for the solution. And that's pretty wild. Like, that's a fair amount of work for most beginners to do. So Upwork just cuts the first 2 out of the equation entirely. Just makes it so you only got to convince the customer of why you're better. Man, slow down. You got to make the space competitive. Deep research says it's saturated AF, bro. We got a doomer here. It's the same dude that I think said earlier that like it's over. It is over. Listen, that sort of mindset's definitely not getting you anywhere. And also the fact that something is saturated is not actually a reason not to go into it. It just has to do like I guess it depends on your definition of saturated, but like I'll give you an example. When I started doing cold email, everybody was saying cold email is dead because everybody's doing it. But then I just employed like a different approach within the cold email, and my cold emails were through the roof. So just because something is saturated is not necessarily bad. And you saying that an entire like space is saturated means it's bad is not true. It is a specific tactic that you're discussing that is saturated. Is you using the exact same subject line, teaser, icebreaker, and then first few paragraphs of a cold email as I eventually going to lose effectiveness? Yes, absolutely. Because simple market economics, everybody will get flooded with that stuff and then they'll be less likely to do it. But there is so many variables that you can play with in a cold email campaign. There's so many different services you can offer here. You're treating the space as just like one big thing, right? The space is saturated as hell, but there's just so many different opportunities here. And I wish that I could just like, put my hand on your shoulder and like tell you that in person, but you're going to have to suffice for this. I'm starting to think you're an AI with the amount of knowledge you've attained, Nick. Super impressive stuff. Thank you. Yellinger says, hey, Nick, I'm 16 years old. I'm making around $500 a month doing websites and AI integrations. I can build better automations for email, lead gen, and even ads with AI. I want to ask, how should I go about getting a 10K a month in the next 6 months? I'm kind of all over the place with my services, but I want to dial in more with AI, but I don't know the move from here. I'd love to know your feedback. Man, we're getting a lot of young people. It's awesome. Well, congratulations. 0 to 1 is fantastic. $500 a month is not 5% of $10,000 a month. $500 a month is like 30%. You've already demonstrated a keen aptitude and ability to get there with the disadvantages that I described earlier that apply to young people. So incredible work. How should you go about getting to 10K a month? Well, what got you to $500 a month? You could probably just repeat what you're doing right now. You're kind of all over the place with these services, but I want to dial in more with AI, but don't on the move from here. Would love to know your feedback. Sounds like you're selling some AI stuff. I would just take everything that you're selling right now, and then I would try and scale it up. I don't know how you got the first lead. I mean, if it was like a warm lead or whatever, then maybe not, because that doesn't actually validate the effectiveness of the offer. It just validates your own distribution network. But Yeah, I'd start there and I just do the same thing, to be honest, and then I just charge more money. There's a very simple loop. It's like do everything, or not do everything, but do like a bunch of things. Pick the thing that works the best, raise prices, continue doing the thing that works the best, raise prices, continue doing the thing that works the best, raise prices. And then that just goes on and on and on and on until eventually you can't get any more clients for this super crazy service. And then you usually pour a ton of money into it, get diminishing returns with marketing and advertising, and then move on to the next thing. You do some product differentiation or whatever. So yeah, man, sorry, there's no like actionable step-by-step. I mean, well, maybe if you want an actionable step-by-step, definitely like lock down an outbound lead generation system, some sort of like either cold email or if you're making $500 a month, you can invest like $100 of that in the cold email system and it'll probably do reasonably well. Yeah, like cold email, cold looms, cold DMs, something like that. It's going to be tough for you to get an Upwork profile because of the age. So unless you're that 15-year-old that's in my other group, then be careful. And yeah, I would just set yourself some like daily habits, some daily actionables surrounding that, and just make sure to do lead gen every day. You know, if you could send like 5 cold DMs every day for the next, like, I don't know, until you're 17, that's still 1,600 or something like that, right? 1,650. That's pretty good. So yeah, that's what I'd do. Hey, Nick commented from Australia. Any insights on emailing recipients based in Aus? Our Spam Act is more stringent and we need inferred consent at the very least. Inferred. See, I was saying informed earlier. Before cold emailing anyone. AI says, I've done outreach and never faced any issues. Just make sure you're not spamming. Thanks heaps. Yeah, I think this answer is the same as my previous answer. High Grieve says, Nick, my cold emails aren't working, mate. I followed the process. Subject, curious, 1 or 2 words. Icebreaker, personalized and dense, 1.5 sentence. 1 elevator pitch, an offer with very low friction, and CTA say yes. That's it. CTA say yes? I don't have a CTA that says say yes. Still not working? My niche is edgy tech companies. Hopefully you can correct me on what's wrong. All right, man. Well, listen, I mean, like, I'd love to, bro, but it's really tough for me to, logically. Because what we'd really need to do, okay, and maybe I'll just give you the process, you do it yourself. What we'd really need to do is we need to identify the bottleneck in your campaign. So here are all of these steps. So the very first thing is there is an open, okay? After an open, there is a reply. From reply, you get positive replies. So, I mean, how many of the replies are positive? Then from here, you get bookings. From the bookings, you have the show ups. From the show ups, you have the number of proposals sent. From the number of proposals sent, you have the deals closed. So this is the pipeline. You know, if I draw my little pipeline, divide it up into all those sections like I was showing you guys earlier. This is what that looks like. So you may be, you may have screwed up one of any of these steps. So because you didn't provide any details here, but I still want to make sure you have some value and maybe you can like walk away with something here. This is what I would do. So first things first, verify that your open's okay. So go to some deliverability testing tool like Glock Apps or Mailbox Tester or whatever. There are a bunch of these. Just look up like Mailbox deliverability test. Just verify that like your emails are okay. What's okay? I don't know. It's like 80% or above. That's fine. Next up, reply. So this is like deliverability. This is sorry, not just deliverability. And subject line. Your subject line seems okay, I guess. Just try first name though. Yeah, just try first name for a while. First name still is just like my go-to. Everybody makes it really complicated. I just do first name and I would tend to crush them. Okay, so deliverability, subject. For reply rate, this is your copy. So if you have very low reply rate, your copy is probably to blame, assuming that like your audience targeting is okay. I guess it could also be your audience. Could be the niche as well. Then your positive replies, which is like your copy as well, and basically how compelling your offer is. Bookings is your nurturing, your ability to like respond to people quickly and then, like get them on your calendar. Show ups are your ability to like confirm the meeting time and then like, make the meeting appealing and stuff like that in the nurturing stage. Proposals are obviously like your sales skills. If you can get somebody interested enough that it's like, hey, I'm going to send you for proposals. Is that fine? Yeah, I'd love a proposal. That sounds great. And then deals closed is obviously your sales skills as well. So that is the whole pipeline. I would just go through top to bottom, man. Like do your own audit or retrospective here. Get your 5,000 emails sent and just break it down. Now your open rates, I don't actually recommend tracking this outside of just like initially making sure that your campaign works. So turn the open rate tracking on for like 2 days. Verify that like most of your emails are actually landing and are being opened. It's really tough for me to say what like a good rate on this is, but like, if it's like 5%, that's a problem. But if it's like 50% or whatever, 50% or above, it's all right. Sorry, 50%. I think if it's hell, even if it's like 30% or above, it's okay. You probably improve it with the subject line though. The replies and stuff, this is all copywriting. And then, yeah, the rest of the stuff is sales. Okay. So that's what I would do. And then I don't do the CTA to say yes. I really don't like it because the say yes CTAs just imply that like I'm setting a big campaign. And the whole idea here is you want to like improve the perceived personalization of this. All right, guys. So how high are we? We're about 60% of the way there. Cool. What are your thoughts on structuring a growth partner type of offer along with AI solutions, like 5 to 10% rev share from ASL system? I'm planning on focusing on the home services niche. Also for team structure, how lean can things run after learning to implement voice agents, workflows, etc.? My strengths are in sales, no one with the fulfillment part into a job. Understandable. This is a great thing. I did this actually. I currently have a client that is on 7% rev share. So yeah, they pay me post pay, which is kind of annoying. The rev share part's post pay. So I don't actually know how much money I made from that client in a month until after we do the math, but yep. Works great, man. I do my like fractional COO offer. So rev share is how to do. My buddy Saad, who maybe some of you guys are familiar with, he joined one of the first people to join my community. He's the one that actually encouraged me to start a community on YouTube. He went from making no money, like $1,000 a month, to making over $100,000 a month, and he does rev share. Yeah, home services niche. Yeah, I think that could work. I guess they do tend to have larger revenues. Not much of that makes it to the bottom line, right? For team structure, how lean can things run after learning to upload voice agents, blah, blah, blah. I would just go solo, honestly. My strengths are in sales. Don't want to turn the film part into a job. Yeah. I mean, I think if your strengths are in sales, then my recommendation for you would be to sell something very simple and then leverage your sales skills to sell more of that simple thing than you probably otherwise would have. The simple, easy, maybe not as sexy thing that like, a super end-to-end cool system could be. Your sales skills are going to make up for the relative lack of sexiness. And then you're going to get to like not have a very tough job fulfilling, if that makes sense. So that's what I would do. Tone might ask, how much is profit? Probably referring to my 300K profit video. Well, I mean, it kind of says it right here, right? Yeah, 300K. I don't know exactly how much, off the top of my head. I think it's more. It's like 310,000 or something. Yeah, just stupid. In your last video, you talk about giving feedback twice a week, but this is before the final presentation. How does that work? To run the system, get results, present that, and then hand it over. In your experience, the clients want to improve the messages that you send out on their behalf? Well, this is all about framing. Yeah, when I started selling cold email systems, it was pretty rough. Most clients were like, well, we don't offer that. Or like, I want full control over the messaging. It's very important to us. So it's just because I didn't really pitch it right. I didn't pitch it as like, hey, there's a secret incantation that you can make with words. You do this incantation that I tell you, booked meetings will appear in your calendar. So I know how to do this incantation very well. I'm basically Gandalf the frickin' Grey. And if you let me do this incantation, I'm going to make this work for you. Then what did I start doing? I actually started doing the incantation, okay, writing the cold email copy before I even told them. Then I generated a bunch of leads for them. And then, yeah, like first couple weeks, like, hey, I've already generated you all these booked meetings. People are like, what the hell? What's going on? How the hell can we do this? And it's like, well, here's how. I run through the logic, just like I've ran it through with you guys multiple times. And then, yeah, they tend to become believers in that. But yeah, the beginning was rough. So that's the first question, I guess. Okay. And then about giving feedback twice a week. What's feedback? Feedback on the client? You probably mean like an update, right? This is before the final presentation? Yeah. Do I run the system, get results, present that, hand it over? No, I just mean like give them like an update on project progress. Just, like, how when you do a proposal, you'll have like a timeline, or like a scope. You just break the scope into like a bunch of line items. And then as you do the scope over the course of the week, then just give them an update. Hey, just letting you know, we wrapped up step 2. Here's a quick screenshot of like the thing that we just built. No update needed from you. Just wanted to let you know, because it's important to me that you're always in the loop. Okay. Awesome. Great. You just do that over email or like Slack message. Yeah. It's very, very important. Vishal says, hey, Nick, I watched one of your shorts with the title, "This piece of information changed my perspective on hiring and business as a whole." Oh, damn. I'm sorry. You watched one of my shorts. Rest in peace. Those were pretty rough. In any of the hires I've ever made, people are just not as hungry as me to deliver the desired project faster and better. The thing that I can do in 1 hour, they will do in 10 hours, and still my work will be 1,000 times better than them. But when it comes to scaling, do you have any system to shortlist these good people? And moreover, the best way to train and moderate the people. And we all know when you do everything inside the business, it is considered a bad thing, because you're supposed to work on the high quality stuff only. I hope you get my point, because you definitely passed this level before me. Well, thank you, Vishal. Yes, I understand the place that you're in right now. I was in that place for quite a while. The best, okay. in terms of how to retain people, you got to pay them pretty well for sure. Pay them more money than they would get equivalent market rates elsewhere. But I've also come to realize that the pay isn't everything. I think the people that work with me now work with me in large part because of my character. And so I think like having a great character is a big chunk of it. If I could distill some management techniques, and I'm not a fantastic manager by any means, but I consider myself an okay one now. I'm realizing I'm an okay manager. It is to praise in public and reprimand in private. If there is something that somebody does that is good, you tell them about how good they did it in front of everybody. And if something that they did is bad, you tell them how bad they did in private. You don't air their dirty laundry. That just fosters a lot of resentment. The cultural environment of the company should be we're constantly winning 24/7. Now, if the cultural environment of the company is we're constantly winning 24/7, even if you're not actually winning, you will be winning very soon. People get very stoked on the mission. The simplest management systems are usually the best ones. So I haven't implemented the daily stand-up in my business just yet, but I do like basically a requirement where you need to post your deliverables at the end of the day. Daily stand-up would make my thing even better. I just can't really commit to it, unfortunately. And our time zones are all over the place. But what that means is at the beginning of the day, hey, what are you working on today? Okay. Yeah, you got any blockers? Okay. Sound good. Get out there and crush it. Hey, what did you do today? That's the retrospective. Okay, you did this? All right. You get any blockers? No? Okay, great. Awesome work. Fantastic. Nice job. I'm awesome. Super stoked to see it. Those are just two things. One at the beginning of the day, one at the end of the day. These massively improve both like the team momentum, make sure that everybody's accountable. And also just like people like that, right? Like they're not working to like live in a void on their own. I used to think that you would just hand off everything and then the person would never talk to you again and they just do what you ask them to do forever. Human beings aren't like that, right? So yeah, that's probably what I would do. That's what I would do, man. Just start with the stand-up and then the retrospective at the end of the day. And then, make sure the people that you are paying can do it well. Oh, and then when you're hiring, Vishal, have them do an example of the job, okay? Have them do an example of what it is that they would be doing were you to give them the job, as opposed to just like an interview, because interviews are all kind of bullshit, to be real. Okay, Alexander, my Bulgarian brother, says, could you show your XP pen setup and key bindings? You're using it so flawlessly. I don't have any key bindings or anything, man. Thank you. It's just this. It's this pen, which I unfortunately broke I ripped off the little cool bit here, which sucks. So yeah, no key bindings at all. If you're talking about the Presentify thing, are you talking about this thing? This is just Control A. And when you do Control A, it launches Presentify, which allows me to write on the screen. Then I press Control A to turn it off and then I'm done. This was a monthly community call comments. Cool. Martin says, hey, Nick, do you think you should create a website landing page for your agency starting out because you may seem more critical or it's not credible or it's not necessary in the beginning? Yeah, I don't think it's like necessary. I think it's cool. You are going to have some people that are going to like see your cold email and then like try and access the link. So if you don't have a website at the link, those people will not be as interested. Websites are also just nice because you can go through them on a call. You can add yourself some credibility. You have full design of the website and you can use it to showcase social proof. But just know that like in Maker School, I don't actually make you make a website until I think like day 12 or something. So I think it's day 12. So like, when you get the outreach up and running, the website is not as important as the lead gen. Do the lead gen. And then while you're doing the lead gen, worry about the website afterwards. And don't spend more time on the website than like an hour or two. Very simple, very straightforward. Jaden says, hey, Nick, great video. Lots of info and practical stuff. What do you use to write and draw notes for your video? I'm trying to get into it myself. Can't seem to find the right drawing tablet or software. Thanks. Keep up the great work. Yeah, it's called the XP Pen, my friend. Man, so many people ask this. I should probably set this up or something. Get my affiliate link for the XP Pen. But this is the one that I got, not the pink one. But yeah, 67 Canadian dollars. What's that in US? 48 US dollars. Nice and cheap. Works well for me. Arthuro says, every day I stop work and eat lunch and watch your daily updates. Thank you. Why is it better for humans to exist instead of not exist? That's interesting. Philosophically, because I can affirm my own consciousness by virtue of the fact that I think, therefore I am. I am a human. There's some evidence that I'm in the same class as the people that are around me, aka they are also humans. And consciousness for me so far has been a net positive because I've been able to experience pleasure. Therefore, there's some non-zero probability that that humans existing deliver more pleasure or something. That'd probably be like the logical way to frame it. But yeah, in a nutshell, humans are pretty cool, I think. We will conquer the stars. Patrick Lynn Jones says, hey, Nick, I've been binge watching all your daily updates, dabbing in the content on your main channel. Super valuable stuff. Thanks. Quick question for someone looking to scale an AI automation agency. Would you recommend niching down right from the start? For example, would you target a broad niche like lawyers or go deeper into a sub niche like immigration lawyers or personal injury firms? Excited to be joining Maker School soon. Thank you very much, Patrick. Also, great looking jacket. My friend, that is one handsome fella. Better give Mr. Jones a follow. No, at the beginning, I would keep it pretty broad, at least for law. Yeah, I'd keep it broad for law, because at the beginning, what you want to do is just accumulate as many yeses as you can in a shorter period of time as you can, because that will give you more opportunities for things like sales calls, whether or not they're qualified, and then new systems that you can build and pitch. Interfacing with the market is the most important thing for any business owner, but it's especially important at the beginning, where you don't know what you don't know. And so when you restrict yourself unnecessarily, you do tend to find more qualified people, but the quality of the people is not as important at your stage than the quantity of the people. Okay. Trev Tap says, Nick, pumping out content as usual. We're just getting down to 2 days here. Vadim says, water. I know. I really should be drinking some water. Oh, man. Just before yeah, somebody was like, dude, it sounds like you have a giant ball of mucus up your nose. And I was like, shit, he's so right. Sorry, one sec. You are correct, my man. Phoebe says, hey, Nick, just wondering how you schedule your day. Seems like you do a lot and generate so much income streams. Hopefully you can give me some good ideas on how to structure our daily to make the best outcome from a beginner, from developing deliverables, warm outreach, cold outreach, and inbound content generation. Love how much value you are providing and being so inspirational. Thank you, Phoebe. Are you doing, when you say we, do you have like a team on your channel or something? Looks like Phoebe makes videos about achieving financial freedom. Ooh, look at this. Cold email setup for our beginners. Alex Hormozzi's 100 million lead strategy explained. That was 5 months ago. Huh, 1.4x. That's great. What's the most popular video you have, Phoebe? Ali Abdal short secrets. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool, very cool. Nice work. Yeah, nice work. So in terms of how to schedule my day, well, because I know now that you are a fellow content creator at this point, I would front load with the content. Content is like your marketing. It's like the lead gen. It's like the cold emails. It's like the Upwork apps. It's like all the other stuff that I talk about in the AI automation agency. If you are a person that makes content like that, that is your marketing. And because lead gen is the most important part of most businesses, it's always made sense for me to just do that first and foremost every day. So yeah, I do a mixture of lead gen and client fulfillment like every morning. A big chunk of my fulfillment is now my community, which is the promise to my community. And one of the reasons why so many people join is that I'm present in it every day, every morning. So, you know, that's my part of my promise. And I deliver on that every morning. And then, yeah, like it does depend. I'm now getting into the habit of going for a run after my initial like work block at the beginning of my day is done, which is cool. This is on the recommendation of somebody that was watching my daily updates. I don't remember who you are, but you left me a comment being like, you should try going for a run in the midday. You're going to get more temporarily tired, and then longer term, you're going to be good because of the endorphins or something. And I've actually found that very true. Yeah. But yeah, Phoebe, I think like, you know, breaking down the day second by second, probably not as valuable. If I could give you just like one guiding principle, it is just wake up and then do work basically immediately. There's so much time that I used to waste every morning. If the most important thing to me is revenue generation, then obviously I should focus on revenue generation immediately. And then if you do this in the first couple of hours of your day, you can get more done than like most people do in like a day or two. And I think that, you know, I'm the one that's doing it. Like I'm doing that right now. And then, you know, what's cool is like, as your cognitive capacity goes down over the course of the day, and obviously this depends on like who you are. Mine is always like this, starts high, then it goes low. You can do like less demanding tasks later. And then by front loading it, you know, you kind of do like the most demanding tasks very early when like you're freshest and most capable. So I think that makes sense. There's some nuance here, like don't actually start your very first task with the most demanding task. Start out a little bit lower on the demanding scale, just to like get yourself into flow. But very quickly, you know, start the demanding stuff. Robert says, hey, Nick, really appreciate the videos. I run a graphic design agency, but I recently upsold one of my clients in building and managing a CRM, outbound email, lead gen, SEO, and their blog. I'm generally interested in marketing, so I do a lot of research in my free time and have a solid plan. But I wanted to ask if you have any recommendations, especially around email lead gen. They're a young, funded startup with no existing setups, so have got full creative freedom. Nice, man. Great work. That's awesome. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. So this is a lot of work to do. You're managing their CRM. You're managing their outbound email. You're managing their lead gen, SEO, and their blog. So you are basically doing all of their marketing. I don't think blogs have that much value personally, and I may be wrong here, but I probably just wouldn't focus on the blog. I think well, I guess, it's part of SEO, but yeah, I don't really think there's that much value here, to be honest. Depends on what the startup is. If it's like a low ticket SaaS, then yeah, you're going to have to do SEO and blog. But I think if it's like it's like a bigger one, or if it's like an agency or something, then I wouldn't worry about that. Managing the CRM, yeah, I would keep it simple. If these guys are young, they probably have no money. If they have no existing setup, they probably have no leads. So you should have a CRM, but keep the CRM very simple. Don't get so involved like developing a CRM that may potentially be able to handle 1 million clients a month or something until you get, to like a fraction of 1 million clients a month, like 500,000 clients a month or something. Odds are you're not going to need that. They're not going to need you at that stage. You're probably going to have some like in-house developer or whatever. But the point that I'm making is like, don't get so worried about like building out this perfect container before you have the stuff to fill the container. Does that make sense? Outbound email, that's great. I have tons of videos for you. Check out the Watch Me Start and Sell, an AI service. This is like 0 to 1 on basically any business model that is service-based. So if this is a low ticket SaaS, you're not going to have as much success with, unfortunately, just because the average ticket size of the deals multiplied by the number of months that they typically stay with you is not going to be that big versus like a super crazy high ticket sales flow for like, I don't know, like a $5,000 or $10,000 customer lifetime value. Like the economics just aren't as good. Cold email is the best selling high ticket stuff, but still worth it. And then, yeah, lead generation, I guess that kind of goes there. SEO on their blog. Yeah. I mean, I would just like have machines assist you with big chunks of the content, but I would never go 100% AI generated. Sorry, there's my camera now. Hopefully that makes sense. Goal updated to 3 mil now, says Hassan. Cheeky. Love how nonchalantly you said it as well. Thanks, man. Gold, thank you for this and all your content. Lots of love from India. Thank you very much, Harshit. Hey, Nick, I love your content. I watch almost all your vids on the main channel. I'm a student starting up an idea got from another one of your videos, an automated personalized outreach system. The question is, how do I market my system via outreach with the little credibility I have? Thanks. I would do the exact same thing that I did in this video, honestly. Even if you have 0 credibility, you can get by with this conversational tone. So in this campaign, I do a bunch of copywriting where it's a lot longer of an email than I would normally do. And it's pretty long. It's like, hey, I wanted to run something by you. So here's some context about where I'm at, what I'm doing. I know this is totally out of left field, but I'm like, in the middle of developing a thing. But I made it really conversational. It worked well. And I did so because I know most beginners, they're going to have to take a more creative approach in order to get their first lead with with all the people doing like the great offers and stuff nowadays, right? So just give that a try. Yeah. And I think you could do a really good job. The entrepreneur says, I liked the last part. I don't know if you're actually French. Way to go, man. I send you a big hug and thank you for all your efforts to educate. It's helping a lot. Thank you. Matthew says, so early. Hope you're well, Nick. Thank you, my brother. Gingerbeard says, boom. Awesome. Stoked. Congrats. #1 on school. Thanks, guys. Kip says, yo, Nick, let's dial in on that real estate audience problem. I have some ideas. Are you talking about the Instantly campaign? Dude, if you got some ideas, just drop them, bro. Like, give me some ideas. We can riff. Well, I can riff with you live while you send me a text thing. That's probably the most efficient way to do it. HSA says, thank you. Congratulations, Nick. You deserve. Thank you, Jed. Carter says, if the community makes most of your money, are you really an AI automation agency? No. Like, I run an AI automation agency, so I run multiple businesses. But no, I'm now branding my like coaching stuff under NSM, which is Nick Saraev Media, which is different from my AI and automation agency business, which is Left Click Incorporated. So I think you can have an AI automation agency in your business portfolio. But yeah, I'm getting to the point now where I have like multiple businesses, which is pretty fun. Am I forgetting to heart some of these? Sorry, I know, I'm a little bit tired today. Okay. Deserved, thank you. Jake says, congrats, thank you. I'm Sreepy says, let's go. Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Hope you're doing well, my man. Ryan just popped off with this video about Iman Gadzhi the other day. He went from like 1,000 subs to 7.5K subs. Somebody took his GPT down. That's so funny. Yeah, he made this video called Iman Gadzhi's Lying to You, Don't Waste Your Money. Now listen, I know very little about Iman Gadzhi. Very, very little. Looks like he met him. Oh, wow. Damn, that's crazy. No way. Oh, dude, that's nuts. He met him. But I didn't think he actually met him. Did he meet him? Okay, anyway, whatever. So, this is like pretty takedown content, right? So I don't personally do takedown content just because I don't really want to like embroil myself in like the drama of the internet. But Ryan's very smart about it. He saw a big opportunity to go dramatic as hell, and he did. And like, he's lying to you, right? Popped, dude. It freaking popped off. So yeah, he runs a community on school. I don't know how much money it makes. I think it's like pretty high up there too. So that's pretty badass. Lean Programmer says, haha, great job, man. Been following you in the background. Really great content. Keep it up. Thank you. Yeah, with Apex, another creator in our space who has 740 subs now. Definitely check him out. I love the background. Thank you very much, Mr. Gibson. Says, super legit, humble bragging. Way to go, Nick. Thank you. Congratulations, Nick, for hitting #1 on school. Hey, Midun, what's going on, man? It's one of the guys that helps me with clipping. I saw your email, Midun. I just haven't got it back yet. Sinatra Francis, can't wait to see you in Harmozy live. Harmony. I think it's with an O, but that'd be pretty funny if his name was like Harmozy. The man creating harmony in the world. Shark Swayze says, you finally convinced me to join the school, but I'm already making some money in the industry. The waiting to unlock info is kind of annoying. Like most things in month 1, I already have implemented. Dun. Yeah, I feel you, man. That's kind of the business model, though. I like don't want people to like join and then just copy everything and then disappear. So yeah, I kind of gate it, but I did just roast your Upwork. So there's that. Dude, Shark Swayze had the dopest Upwork video. It was crazy. He jumped into a pool. He was like, hey, what's going on? I'm Nick or something. And like, I'm an AI automation guy. And he just jumped into a pool. That was an incredible video. This guy's got like crazy marketing. Mara says, so this is Nick transitioning or selling coaches to coaches. Run Iman, run. He didn't even know who Iman was a few weeks ago. Now he's coming after his ass. That's funny. Thanks, guys. Yeah. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Congratulations, Nick. Thank you. Hey, what's going on, Fahim? Thank you, man. I'm sad that Maker School's gotten so much bigger, says Bilal. Nick can't reply as frequently as before. Heartbroken. I guess the game is the game. I do reply though. Once every 3 to 5 days, I would say I go through my DMs. Sometimes people like send me a bunch of follow-ups and then it like changes where it is in my lists and then I don't reach them for like a week. That kind of sucks. Funny enough, I was into DJing from about 1995 to 2002, says Precision25. Used to work at a local skating rink and teen club. I do still have 2 Technic 1200s, and about 12 crates of vinyl. Love the videos in Maker School. You're a Jedi, the AI automation agency niche. Thank you. And I've also been using AnkiDoc since 2023. Pretty cool tool. And Drawplan's another cool free note-taking tool. Thank you very much, my brother. Yeah, the AnkiDocs are awesome. If you guys aren't on Anki, level up, man. They're great. Great tool. How broke beginners are winning with AI agencies. Coach Popovic says, in one of Trump's old books, he talks about keeping a picture of the Milky Way galaxy across his desk. It's a constant reminder of how insignificant we are in the universe. Wow. Really? Wow. I have, I'm not going to lie. I've never seen one of Trump's books. I've never read one of Trump's books. I've certainly seen him all over the media in the last couple of years. Well, last 6 years, I guess. And definitely all over Canadian media in the last like 3 or 4 months. But that to me seems beneficial regardless of where you are on the political spectrum. The idea that you keep a picture of the Milky Way galaxy across your desk is a constant reminder of how insignificant you really are in the universe, and that the things that you are doing in like the grand scheme of things are probably not all that important. Seems to me a great way to just keep your freaking heart rate a little lower, Keep those arteries clean. Less stress for sure when you kind of zoom out. I guess it's sort of similar to the very first comment I responded to. Right way back here with the burnout, right? It's kind of the story you tell yourself. So I think if you tell yourself the story that like we're insignificant in the universe, that can be a positive or a negative. It can be positive because where were we? Oh, we're really close up to the top now. It can be a positive because, it's a negative obviously because, if nothing has any consequence, then like why abide by any moral code and why try to do anything? Like nihilism. But I think it's a positive as well because it's also freeing in a way, isn't it? That you can do anything. You can do absolutely anything. I am simply a tiny little pixel on this big, grand mosaic of the cosmos. Yeah. It's badass, man. Ariane Shaw Gaming Music says, yo, Nick, love your videos. Saw what you had to say at the end about having a SaaS product for your community. I'm also actually working on a Chrome extension for Upwork proposal automation based off the end-to-end workflow you made about this and would love to work together if we can help us both out. Still pretty early stages right now, but your community is the exact target market, so I think it'd be beneficial for us both. Let me know if that sounds interesting. If you can build like a really high quality product, and it's just way better than any of the products that are currently on the market, for sure, man. I want to give more value to my community wherever possible. So just shoot me over an email. Should have it. Nick@leftclick.ai. AI with Mahmood says, congrats, Nick. Thank you, my man. Mam Zotings says, thank you, Nick. I love your content. I'm working with a potential client who runs a diamond mine in Africa. Okay, one sec. Okay. Right now, workers manually record their hours and overtime, and clerks input everything into Excel. The goal is to automate tracking, reduce manual input, and prevent manipulation of hours. Very true. I'm not sure where to start building the system. If you're in my shoes, how would you approach automating timesheet tracking for a mining company? Thanks a lot for your time and insights. So, right now, the workers are manually recording their hours, presumably on a paper timesheet and overtime. At the end of the day, or maybe the next morning, the clerks input everything into Excel. The goal is to automate tracking, reduce manual input, and prevent manipulation of hours. Well, this is an established system. This is an established system. So you kind of got a couple things you do. You could develop a new system. Obviously, the client's looking for some way to change this because they think that it's not working now. And they're probably right. I mean, people are probably being very dishonest, and that is actually leading to a few percentage points hit to their margin. Maybe more than that. Maybe it's like, maybe the dishonesty there is actually a big chunk of the business. I don't know. So that said, anytime you implement a new change to low-level workers, especially people that you think might be doing stuff like manipulating your hours, you are going to get a lot of resistance. And you need to keep in mind that the transition process to a new system may actually lead to may actually be temporarily crappier or shittier than it is right now. Okay? People are the bottleneck in any business, right? People, customers, people, staff members, people, employees, whatever. So on the one hand, you could simply economize the process. Maybe you have, instead of the clerks inputting everything into Excel, you have the clerks upload things, instead of the clerks, like the data entry time with the clerks, you do some sort of OCR system that does it instead. Maybe your timesheets all have barcodes, or not barcode, barcodes or QR codes or something that are specific to the staff member, and then you have to use your own timesheet with your own QR code. That would be marginally more work to implement. When the employee gets the timesheet, they get their own timesheet. Everybody is issued their timesheets ahead of time. Make sense? So now they have their little QR code, and that's their own time code thing. And then you take a photo of it, or if you're a clerk, and then the OCR turns that into some big Excel thing, and then it uploads it. That's not bad. Then the clerks, instead of doing it all every day, they maybe just have a payout what's the payout period? Well, I guess, maybe once every couple weeks, something like that. So maybe, once every couple weeks, you have some Q&A just to make sure that there's nothing absolutely insane. And your system will have minor issues for sure, and that won't solve the manipulation of hours, but you can probably remove the vast majority of the clerks, depending on how big the mine is. Right, if we're talking a mid-sized mine here, it's, a couple hundred people that are working out of it. I guess it's not that much time, but that's one thing. Now, if you wanted to change the system completely, I would install some sort of NFC RFID thing. Now, issue everybody tags. You can't really manipulate the hours as well if you have to tap in and tap out. So I would have some, I don't know, gated thing that you need. You tap in and you tap out. Have a flow set up so that the person doesn't tap out before X, Y, and Z time. Maybe midnight or something the day of. Or if they work through the night, and this is one of those 24-hour mines where there's constant extraction, then maybe they don't tap out after, within 12 hours of their shift. Then you actually cap their hours at the 8, and you make it abundantly clear, hey guys, in order to get paid, you have to tap out. Then install a camera that looks at the RFID, and just have an SOP where the person just looks briefly at the camera, so that if there are any disputes about tap in or tap out, you get that sorted, because you can just look at the actual source footage, right? So how often are disputes going to happen? If people are manipulating you, pretty often probably. I don't know, once a week, somebody will be no, those weren't my hours. I was actually there much longer. And it's all right, what time was this? Oh, this time? Okay, well, let's go to the time that you said that you were working, or the time that you whatever, and then just see if you tapped out. You're going to know pretty damn quick whether or not those guys are actually tapping out, right? Yeah. And then you have the SOP where it's hey, if you don't tap out, we're not going to pay you for the OT. So make sure you tap out. And then all of a sudden becomes the most important thing for people. So I would do that. Gated RFID with scanner plus a camera. This is a physical real world thing. This isn't a cloud automated system, right? So this isn't going to be super straightforward or easy to do. But that said, phones have you can get little RFID apps or whatever, even on your phone. But you could have I forget what the module was called. One sec. Was it RFID? So there are a bunch of these platforms, right? Check in by ID. No, NFC, was it? Yeah, there are platforms like Unify where you can actually like trigger an event like a webhook. And then what you do is because the RFID has the little tag or whatever has an ID specific to the employee, you then have a centrally managed employee database, which includes the ID. When they tap in, you get an event, a webhook that's sent to your make.com or NNN scenario. Then you cross-reference that with the employee record, and then you add a timesheet virtually. Now, there are a variety of tools in which you could add a timesheet. I'm not going to like build out the whole thing for you, but hopefully I've now given you at least like a place to start. You know, you can do this like ClickUp, you use with like Toggle, you use with like Harvest, you can do this with like anything. But that's how I do it. Best of luck. Team Evolve at AI says, Nick, you're really an idol for me. Thank you. Amazing work and really inspired by your consistency, which is something very unique. 2 questions. What do you think about building an N8N or Make automation that sends personalized emails and gets rid of instantly? It's better to use the Instantly infrastructure as possible to make a replica of it on N8N or Make. No, unfortunately. Instantly does a lot for you. Oh, thanks, man. Instantly does a lot for you. It doesn't just send the email. That's not the important part. The important part is that it like distributes the emails across your mailboxes and then rotates them. So you can't actually rebuild that. Like you could try rebuilding that, I guess, but it would just be a massive pain in the ass. Like I would just let Instantly do it. Instantly does best. Also, you'd also have to build like warm-up infrastructure, which is a pain in the ass. So I wouldn't do it, man. I'm from Italy and I'm trying to sell GHL services to cold call in my country and automations, grow systems to cold email internationally. Do you think I should go all in on automations? And I have a big idea that will interest you, but I'll let you know in another video. Thanks again. You're a legend. Peace. Yeah, I would go all in on automations for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. That's cool. You cold calling? All right. If cold calling's working, keep it up. But if not, then Apex Web says, looking for a new challenge. Awesome. Cool. I'm looking for a new challenge as well. I'm just kidding. I'm not looking for a new challenge. Please keep your challenges away from me. Your dad who left says, hey, I'm 16. I have $200. What do you think I should do to start? Also love your content. I'm not going to lie, man. My answer to this question, really similar to my answer to the I have $100. How should I start question? I've actually done like a full step-by-step breakdown of that. So can I open up this exact same thread? One sec. Content. Okay, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just do a $sign. One sec. We got a lot of $signs. This one right here. How I'd start an AI automation agency with $100. Check this one out. You just get to double it, man. What do you think is the best payment method to receive payment from a client? Stripe. Yeah. Thank you, Apex Web. Stripe if you're American or in the EU, I would say. Farhan says, hey, Nick, I'm having trouble optimizing my Upwork profile because I don't have any experience yet. You mentioned that in order to stand out from Upwork, we need to showcase proof of our work so clients can see that we know our shit. The challenge is I'm still in university. I have no employment history and haven't landed any clients so far, so I don't know what to put on my profile description. The only thing I have is certification from Make Academy. The only solution I can think of right now is use the portfolio feature, add a couple of workflows that I built on Make that has the highest ROI, so the clients will think I'm not a fully beginner. What do you think? Yeah, listen, it's a good question. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would just write your social proof or your case studies as systems that you built. Just say, I built a cold email system that saves an estimated of this much money for this sort of business. Do it for yourself first, obviously, because then you can confidently say that, without lying to people. And then just make sure you use terms like estimate or whatever, because, you haven't actually built the system for other people. When people ask you, hey, have you built a system for clients before? I would be honest with them. Your reputation is going to catch up to you otherwise. But you could say something like, yes, well, I currently do this for my own software development agency, which is why I'm confident this is going to work, for instance. So, it's mostly about like how you say it, not what you say, to be honest. But Christian VTR says, hey, Nick, I've been working as a software dev for the past 5 or so years, and I built many powerful tools using AI, not just automations, but full-blown apps. My question is, can I use achievements from my dev background, for example, a system that saved over $3,000 per document for large companies creating RFPs, as social proof when pitching to clients? A related question, I have a lot of experience working with SaaS companies, startups, and software dev agencies. Do you think I should lean into this niche and target them? My concern is they might be harder to convert because they are already very technical people who can build these sorts of solutions. What's your take on this? Yeah, for sure. You should absolutely use these. 100%. 100%. Yes. Per document? Oh my goodness. Well, how much money is this in total? Focus less on the per document. Focus more on the total amount of savings for that company. You want stuff like I saved XYZ. I saved $45,000 a month for XYZ business. That's what you want. XYZ business is like the vertical. It's not the actual business. So like, a manufacturing facility. Yeah. I do think you should lean into this and target them. Sure, it'll be harder to convert since you already have technical people who can build these kinds of solutions, but just try it. Add it to your marketing mix of one niche and give it a go. You'll probably speak the language better than most other people do that are competing. Okay. Lawrence says, hey, Nick, what CRM do you suggest, if any at all? I currently use GHL, but I'm finding it's very basic and bland for the AI agency that I'm building and has a lot of roadblocks. Also, thank you for anything. What CRM do I suggest? I usually build mine out in like ClickUp. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I just do like, intake, meeting booked, proposal sent, and then closed won or closed lost usually. And sometimes I'll have some intermediary stages. But yeah, the GHL is great because it's like the 80-20 for beginners. So if you've never like operated a CRM or whatever, it gets you 80% of the way there pretty quick. But I find if you want to go a little bit deeper, it's tough. That said, at your stage, if you're just getting up and running with the AI and automation agency, you haven't made too much money yet, realistically, Lawrence, GHL might be enough for you. I don't really know. Damn, we got some real cool guys in here, man. Nice test video. Yeah, very cool. What am I watching right now? Hold on.
Ted keeps amazing. This AI breakthrough in Alzheimer's research.
No way. Is this a HeyGen video? I think this is a HeyGen video. Nice. Kunkit says, Yo, Nick, I love your content. I don't usually comment, but I had to get this question out. What do you think is the future of AI automation agencies? I know people who've quit their full-time careers to pursue AI automation. It just seems so stupid to do so, looking at how quickly AI advances and many tasks that automation agencies perform are going to become redundant as AI becomes more agentic. How long do you think before it becomes obsolete? I would also love to hear your thoughts on this. Also, what do you think of your plan would be if advances make your automation business redundant? What would you pivot to? Wow. Well, I think this is so I wouldn't quit my full-time career to pursue AI automation unless I was making like parity with my salary or more, probably. Parity just means like if I was making 5K with my salary, then I was reaching like 5K with my automation agency consistently for a few months, I might consider it. But ideally what I do is I do some sort of multiple. I'd do like 10K or maybe like 15K. Okay. But Kankit, you're making an assumption here, and the assumption is that your career is more stable than self-employment. Now, this is something that I had to come to terms with growing up, but the reality is a career is not more stable than self-employment. A career is more predictable. It's more well-worn a path, but it is not more stable. I want to say it's easier to acquire a certain revenue, like a low revenue number with a career than it is with an agency. But once you're there, I think that businesses are a lot more stable. Why? I mean, it's simple math. With my AI and automation agency, I might make, $25,000 a month relative to a career that makes me $25,000 a month, hypothetically. Okay, let's say. If I work in my full-time job for that, I have one client. So if I lose that one client, I lose all $25,000. Whereas in my AI and automation agency, I might have 3 clients. So if I lose one client, I only lose $8,000. It's like diversification, right? Diversification is the only free lunch in life and investing. Why would it be more stable if you have one client versus 3, or 20 or 30, right? More people, the more stable a thing usually is. So that's an oversimplification. There are obviously other benefits to a career, like an employment contract than automation that I'm not really getting into. For instance, you can file for like unemployment. If you're talking like employment, so like 9 to 5 with an employment, not like like your W-2, not like a contractor. Then you also typically have benefits. You have like periods where you can't be fired after a certain amount of time without cause. Obviously you have a bunch of these like regulatory incentives that stop people from wanting to fire everybody immediately the second that they have a shitty day. But that's not really enough for me. If you think about it mathematically, and I'm just going to make this a long answer because we're coming up on the last question. The average American makes what, $2 million over the course of their life? 2 million. The average American, I'm assuming you are, and these numbers are much worse in other places, makes $2 million over the course of their life. They start work at maybe 25, they retire at 65 or something. Maybe this is going to be different in the future, probably will, but that's like the last 40 years of stats, right? If you sign up for 9 to 5 employment, you are signing up to make $2 million over the course of your life on average. That is the sum unit total of your economic value. You are a $2 million revenue producer without getting into taxes and without getting into various other things that you're probably spending that money on. So if you were to right now start a one business at age 25, and then if you were to try for a full year to do as much as you could with that business, how many times do you think you'd have to do that before you built a business that was capable of generating you over $2 million in 40 years? Mathematically, if you have a 2.5% success rate or above in building a business that generates over $2 million, then you should just do the business. I think it's going to be way more exciting. It's going to be way more enjoyable. And once you achieve that, you're going to have way more diversification. So when I was considering going into medical school, I did this. I said, well, what's the value of the medical school for me? Well, it's mostly the money. Okay, great. So if we're just looking at money, what's the value of me doing the thing that I'm doing versus, medical school financially versus me choosing some other path? Obviously, the numbers are a little bit different. If you're a doctor, you make way more money, but you also have to sacrifice more of your life. And then you have some debt that you're usually in, and so on and so forth. Continuing education isn't always the best move financially, right? So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if we're just looking at it purely from a mathematical perspective, if you believe that you have over a 2.5% shot of achieving some sort of entrepreneurial success over the period of 40 years, then you should probably just do business, right? And I think most people that are watching my videos definitely do. If you watch more than a couple of these, I think you guys are fine. So that's my take on just business, I guess, and quitting your job and stuff versus going into 9-to-5 employment. You're also making another assumption, and I'm not shitting on you or anything, man. Like, this is a great question, and I'm going to answer your actual point here. But just to be clear, you're making another assumption here, which is that your career is going to be safer from some sort of automation than an AI automation agency. Like, usually careers are a lot more narrow and restricted in scope, just to be honest. So like if you're an accountant or something, or if you are some junior person at a legal firm, I don't think you are at less risk of being automated than a business owner that wears many hats, has total agency and freedom over how they choose to employ their resources, and has to make high agency decisions all the time. In fact, I think you're much more at a risk of being automated if you're like an accountant or legal professional that's a junior, or maybe maybe even up to like a senior, honestly. So that's another assumption that I want to chat about right off the bat. And then long term, I firmly believe that basically all of our work is going to become redundant. So none of that stuff really matters in the first place. You're basically trying to prepare for a future where you're in something and you're still producing money, right? Keep in mind that when AI gets to the point where it is capable of doing the work, the intellectual work, the knowledge work of one of us 1,000 times faster and 1,000 times better, there is no need for us to hire a human being for a thing that an AI can do. There's basically going to be no situation in which it makes sense to hire a human for economic value over a machine, right? So at that point, the economy is kind of out of our hands, don't you think? At that point, human beings don't really have any relative economic value. And so what do you think is going to happen to society if we keep on, forcing people to do things like, I don't know, work a job to pay for groceries and whatnot? I'm not like proposing that we like do away with any sort of earnings or whatnot, or money entirely. But like, let's just be realistic here. Like, there are a lot of people that are already being automated out of jobs, and these people are not in good financial situations. Like, what is the only thing like that keeps them from, I don't know, causing complete and utter havoc? Some sort of like government support or welfare, essentially. I think probably we're going to move to some sort of UB. This is more like, I don't know if I should really get into this, but this is more like long-term futurist thinking. But I think probably we're going to have to go to some sort of like UBI-based scenario, because humans are just not going to be able to do they're not going to be able to like provide anywhere near as much value as a machine will in like, I don't know, maybe I'll say like 15, 20, 30 years. So yeah, there's just so many questions on that last part, man, that I don't even know. I have no idea what the future is going to look like there. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think your plan will be if advancements like your automation business run on it? Okay, so that's in the long term, right? I'm talking super long term here. We're talking decades. Do I think people are going to be running, like service agencies in 2 decades? No, I don't. I don't really think so. But if all roads lead to automation, and they do, and if we are going to be implementing all of these tools over the course of the next few years to get to the point where things are 100% automated, is there any business model that is better than what we are in right now? If this is the gold rush of a lifetime, is there any business that is better to be in than the one that is selling the shovels? I've thought long and hard about this, and my answer so far has been no. There's literally nothing that is higher agency, nothing that makes more sense, at least as, an entrepreneurial pursuit, than basically being part of the marketing arm for artificial intelligence to try and economize the economy. I wonder if anybody's ever said something that's stupid. Hopefully you guys get the point that I'm making at here. What's my plan? If advancements make my automation business redundant, what would I pivot to? I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I do not have plans within plans within plans. Yeah. How long do I think until it becomes obsolete? Specifically, like our ability to drag and drop workflows and stuff. I mean, obsolete's a loaded term, but like I think we are all going to be doing the work that we're going to be doing for at least 3 to 5 years. And I think that over the course of 3 to 5 years, what that work looks like will be different. We'll probably get substantially more economized with the simple like no code AI like pre-drafters and stuff. But yeah, it's not like being able to operate. It's not like you won't be able to operate an agency in the next 3 or 5 years. But yeah, we're going to see like agents and various services like infiltrate our business model very soon for sure. But that doesn't mean that, that's a bad business model, because the same thing's going to happen for everything. Okay, Not Sujan says, hey Nick, loving the daily update videos. Jujutsu Kaisen, please don't stop. I just had one question. If possible, go for a bit more detailed frameworks. You can name the video title after this. How do you write your cold emails? Can you please explain A, how you would think about writing through one from scratch, and B, what are components in your best performing campaigns that you use regularly, like for the offer part, does it have like a lead magnet or guarantee, etc.? As a beginner, how do I make up for not having social proof in the mail? Thanks, man. You're my current favorite person. I'm your current favorite person? No, man, that's sweet of you. Okay. Listen, I've pitched this like 3 times so far, so I'm going to pitch it a 4th. But this video here answers pretty much most, if not all of the cold email icebreaker related questions. And I actually have a section here where I run you through everything, specifically like the sections of the email. So my formula is basically answer the question, hey, is this spam? Then answer the question, who are you? This is a shitty old template I'm using. But then answer the question, who are you? Answer the question, why this email matters. And then answer the question, okay, what do we do next? That's like the CTA. Okay. That's the copywriting formula. In terms of like what a new example of that looks like, something like, well, I guess I could just show you directly on Instantly, right? Let's just do that. It's way easier. Ooh, I've been recording this video for a very long time. We're up to 2 hours and 11 minutes. Is my internet off or something? Can you imagine if I recorded all 2 hours and 11 minutes of this for no reason? Okay. So that exact same formula right over here. Okay. So is this spam? Right? Is this spam? Most people are going to see this in the teaser. Hey, Katie, love KTE. KTE is an acronym version of the company that they're running. Also into graphic design. She's in graphic design. Wanted to run something by you. First thing that they're going to think is not, hey, this is spam. They're going to be like, oh, does this person know me or something? KTE. So like they're part of the company, also into graphic design. Oh, is this like one of my colleagues, or is this like somebody asked me a question? So you're gonna check off the is this spam one. Then, ooh, I've already kind of forgotten. Listen, guys, I don't know this shit off the top of my head. Okay, what the hell? How did I phrase it? Obviously, it's who are you, but like, what did I say? Where was it? Right over here. Okay. So, can I zoom out of this? Yes. Awesome. So is this spam? It's this section right over here. After the section on, is it spam? It's like, who are you? Kind of like that. Why does this matter? And then let's do purple. What are we going to do about it? In a nutshell, that's my whole structure. And I do that over and over and over and over again, just loop it, massage my copy into various forms. The words are different, but the shape is always the exact same. That's how I do it. And it's just like, I think it's like human psychology. It's like, that's the series of questions that people are going to ask. Is this spam? Yeah, obviously. Okay, what up though, Nick? Please verbalize a 5-step plan of action for me. Feel free to be opinionated and creative. I'm a barber instructor and super ATV dirt bike repairman, and I speak Spanish and travel to Latin countries a lot. I want to use AI to transition from time for money jobs to living remote. Help. Thanks ahead of time. FYI, I'm using all of my free time learning Make, N8N, and Zapier right now. I'm excited AF. Would really appreciate a different futuristic perspective from an AI outlier. Thank you, bro. Yeah, just in terms of my opinions, this is not going to help you work remotely, so we're going to have to cut that out. But you shouldn't like stop, you should just like slowly taper this down. You're probably still making money through barbering and whatnot. So just spend some of the money. I don't know, if let's say make $3,000 a month, spend like, I don't know, $300 of that on Make, N8N, Zapier, whatever the specific automation tool is that you're learning. Oh yeah, don't learn all of these simultaneously. There's no point. These are like tools, right? So just learn one tool. The tool allows you to do everything all the other tools do, just like slightly differently. But it's like a pickaxe, right? Like you don't need like a pickaxe and something else and something else and something else. You don't need 3 pickaxes. You just need one. Really crushing the Minecraft analogies here. You need your rune pickaxe. So yeah, then focus on just one, double down, maybe spend like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days just watching my stuff. I have an N8N course that's 6 hours. I have like a make.com course that's almost 60 hours, although it's getting a little bit out of date now. Some of the UX is a bit different. Still, I do maintain that it's still the best like training on the internet for Make. So give that a go. Watch that for a few days. After you're like comfortable with one tool, not 3, then do these 3 things. Okay, so I think that was 2. So now I'm going to give you 3 more things. Where were we at? 1. Let's just do rainbow now because this is my last question. So 1 is pick tool. 2 was learn tool. The 3 was create Upwork profile. And then 4 was do cold email. So spend a little bit of the money you're currently making, do cold email, and then also join a bunch of communities. Mine, you can join mine if you want. I think I'm probably covering this up with my face. Sorry, guys. Join a bunch of communities like that have to do with a bunch of target niche markets. I guess you got to pick a niche too. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to say just join Maker School, but a very intelligent man earlier in this video told me that I should not be pitching it that hard. But check out this niche discovery exercise. Find a couple niches here that you think are reasonable. And don't focus on like really cool sounding unique ones. Like actually focus on ones that you've heard of before that people are making money with. And then follow that 5-step plan. Okay. You join communities, start making posts, start talking to people and so on and so forth. Just get in front of as many customers as possible. Okay. We are now all the way up to the top of my comment thread. So yeah, we did a lot of work here, guys. And it's going to be pretty fun to drop this. Most people are probably gonna be like, what the fuck is that? A 2-hour daily update video? Jeez. Thank you very much for engaging with me and leaving your comments down below. I have a lot of fun like answering all of them. I really do. I've gotten so much clarity surrounding how best to answer these questions. The time that I spend doing this, I basically consider, you guys ever watch Dragon Ball Z? It's like I'm in the hyperbaric time chamber, just training, These are all FAQs and concerns that my target market, aka people that want to start an AI and automation agency, are all going through. So logically speaking, me just seeing all of your troubles and pain points and needs is like, it's pure protein for the muscle of this business model. So yeah, thanks very much, guys. And I know this is a little bit of a non-standard one. I'm going to try and package it nicely before I sign off for the day here. Probably going to throw on a nice thumbnail. Oh, I got to do some email shit, actually. Never mind. I got to do something for a client. But anyway, I'm still going to try packaging it nicely. So hopefully it's kind of clickbaity. Hopefully this one does well. If it doesn't, I don't blame you guys. It's 2 hours, so can't watch all my shit, right? Thank you very much again. Looking forward to chatting with y'all. Not tomorrow because I'm going to be traveling and doing a bunch of other work, but 2 days from now.